W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it.
On 93.5
Watch it.
and 107.5.
Boom, baby.
The Fan.
I believe we are setting a record on today's show. In the history of Kevin and Query, I don't believe this has ever been done.
Thermostat set at over 90.
Holy hell. Over 90? You try 190.
I walked in. I'm like, Dyton, what are we doing here?
Wasn't me. It was someone
I'm like,
else.
you know what? I was thinking, can I fit a workout in today? Oh, good. I'll just sit in the studio for 3 hours.
You ain't kidding,
Hot
man.
yoga.
What do you think? What is the record we will be setting on today's show?
Oh, I've got two guesses. We did not discuss this prior to just now. And good radio would say that we
don't
build up the
discuss much
suspense, right?
Before the show.
That's true. I believe I know the answer right away, but would you like me to give you an alternate answer as to embellish the conversation?
The radio pro that you are, have at it.
The earliest that all three of us have arrived, cumulatively. Typically, one of the three of us gets here a couple minutes before. Usually, you come in after me. But this morning, like all three of us were in here at a pretty decent buffer period.
Yeah, okay. I could potentially see that. It's not where I was going. I was a little rattled when I walked in and saw a cucumber sitting on your keyboard.
What, Mark? What's going on here? Why did I? Do we know what's up with that?
No, I walked in. There's a cucumber sitting on your keyboard. And I said, okay. What you do in your spare time is up to you.
I like cucumbers.
Apparently.
Yeah, I was a little nervous when I saw that.
I just walked in.
Still a little nervous.
I have no idea where this came from, but okay. I'm going to go with Kevin Bowen on this glorious Tuesday that looks like a really nice day outside, by the way. I'm going to guess that on this Tuesday, August the 16th, 15th? What are we on?
Yes, August 16th.
The 16th of August, 2022, in what is somewhere around the 9-month mark of this program, 9.5-month mark of this program, I'm going to guess that today we set the record for the highest number of on-air guests since we began.
Ding, ding, ding.
Mark Dyken was busy on the Rolodex yesterday, right?
This has got to be the most, right?
I'm pretty sure.
A total of 5 guests on today's show. And as I've said for numerous years now, we are honored to have, in my opinion, one of the greatest athletes of my generation on today's show as well.
You're a fan, aren't you?
Fanboy. Not Fanboy Zhang for the Colts, or for the
Pacers, yeah.
Excuse me. I'd love to see Fanboy actually strap on the full pads this week. Yes, on the Mount Rushmore of greatest athletes of my generation.
You've been around and talked to him before, right?
The one and only Joey Chestnut. In the studio, Jake, I got a picture with him. Not ashamed.
Super nice guy.
Super nice. And calls Westfield, Indiana home, right?
Yeah, and I want to ask him about body slamming the protester on the 4th of July.
I feel like that's how you open, right?
Joey Chestnut will be trying to set a world record for popcorn eating at Victory Field. We'll talk to him at 8:45. That's 30 minutes after we talk to the fabulous duo of Rick DeMulling and Ryan Diem. We're going to join us at 8:15 with a way that you can help raise money for Peyton Manning Children's Hospital and rub elbows with the NFL as well. Then Robert Mays, NFL writer for The Athletic at 9 o'clock, and then at 9:30, Patrick Vinson from Hagerstown, Little League, right? As they get set for the Little League World Series. It is kind of funny because
their first game is Thursday, by the way. 3 o'clock for the Hagerstown.
So allow me to ask this, and maybe
Tigers,
I'll ask him this. Is the Little League World Series facing... PR is the wrong word. But are they now facing a newfound schedule conflict in the fact that due to the new way, like in other words, in 1986, when I was playing Little League baseball, shout out to the Red Sox, Allisonville Little League, But when I was playing Little League baseball, the Little League season was basically, gosh, we started in, I want to say we started maybe, I remember having practice just before during the night of the Final Four. So we probably started in April with practice and played until, I'm guessing, July, and then school, But anyway, I'm delaying here. School starts earlier now for kids than it used to. So does the Little League World Series now cross over where you have kids that are missing school in order to go to Williamsport, whereas that wasn't the case even 5 years ago? Do they have to maybe move that back?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go back further than 5 years. I mean, I feel like kids have been going back to school in August since I was in junior high and elementary. I mean, the
that's
Hagerstown
probably
kids
true,
are
but
definitely
this
missing
is
school.
But I mean, this is it seems like when I think Little League World Series, I think around July, like 4th of July type
it's
thing.
It's always been an August thing. I kind of forgot about this. I love that. I forget who the opponents are. Mark, could you look up who was playing in the Sunday night baseball game? I'm looking on the board right now. Is that Red Sox Orioles? Is that what I'm seeing? The Sunday night game this week is at Williamsport.
Really?
Yeah. This is now got to be at least the second time they've done it, maybe more. So the stands are filled with all 20 teams, all 20 Little League teams.
Do they
watch the game?
Dumb question. Do they have a major league?
Yeah, I think. I don't know if it's on an adjacent stadium or if they just bring the fences back for that game and then move them obviously back up for when the Little Leaguers play. But that's part of, I feel like, a little bit of the behind the scenes. Obviously, we see that because it's on national television. Yeah, that's cool. But I was reading something yesterday, like the Hagerstown team is right next to the Australian team in the dormitory area at Williamsport. And like we were saying last week, Jake, when they qualified, we just read off a few of the cities, of the American cities, of teams that are going to Williamsport. I mean, at 1,800, Hagerstown is by far the smallest of any of the teams that have advanced.
What state do you believe has been most? I mean, the obvious answer here, I guess, would be California, just based on size. What state has been most represented in the College World or in the Little League World Series, or most won? God, Hawaii's really good, like usually, right?
Chula Vista, California wins it every year.
Isn't that where E.T. was? Didn't they live in Chula Vista, California?
They're in the championship every year. Now, the team Hagerstown plays on Thursday, I feel like they're in it every year. Davenport, Iowa.
Davenport's a good one. I'm looking up Chula Vista.
I swear they're in it every year. The Chula Vista is the 1970s UCLA Bruins.
What about Danny Almonte?
Oh, he was on some Bronx team, right?
He's retired now, right? He was they found out he was 16.
Yeah, he had some. He hit puberty pretty early. Didn't they not shave his mustache before he took the mound one night? I mean, come on, isn't that like the first order of business? Danny, before you put on your baseball pants, shave.
He literally wasn't he 14? And then who was
I feel like he might even been 15.
What was the girl's name? Monet Davis? Is that right?
That's ringing a bell.
She's playing softball still. I mean, she's in college now. Chula Vista, by the way, is a suburb of San Diego. When you look up Chula Vista on the Wikipedia page, which is all-knowing, all it says is that they have, here we go, in 2009, Parkview Little League won the 2009 Little League World Series.
Boom.
In 2013, Eastlake Little League won the American Championship in the 2013 Little League World Series. Wait, they have two different Little Leagues that won?
I swear, they're a dynasty.
Wow.
So Thursday at 3 o'clock for Hagerstown. Again, that is Davenport, Iowa. That game is on ESPN.
Well, they got a kid here from 2009. Here's a picture of Chula Vista meeting with the president. And they've got a kid that's 2 feet taller than Barack Obama. He was 12. No wonder why they won.
They know how to grow them out there.
I guess.
We got the starter roster cuts today, Jake. Each of the next 3 Tuesdays, so including today, roster cuts around the NFL. So right now, the Colts roster sits at 90 players. Did we say good morning to people, by the way?
Hi there. Good morning to you. It is a glorious-looking Tuesday. My name is Jake Query. That's Kevin Bowen. Mark Dykton here as well. Apparently, the Cucumber Fairy. It is Kevin and Query. What's that?
Was not me.
Okay.
It is a glorious Tuesday.
It is. It's nice. Kevin and Query here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. So with cuts, Kevin, question is this. in your opinion, and maybe the answer is none, what player who we've heard of is in the most jeopardy?
You mean overall or for today's cut?
We'll go with both.
It's 90 to 85 today. Next Tuesday, you cut from 85 to 80. And then the last Tuesday in August, that would be August 30th, that is the cut from 80 to 53. That is the big one. I was thinking about this yesterday, Jake, because we saw...
May I ask a dumb question?
Yeah.
You said today is 90 to 85?
Yeah, 90 guys, you cut 5. Get down to 85.
Can they do more than 5 if they want?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
90 is the max you can have right now. 85 would be the max after today. But I thought about this yesterday. I think it was Philadelphia, maybe. Did you see J.J. Arcega-Whiteside? Does that name ring a bell at all?
It does not.
Decently high pick back, I don't know.
He played for
3 or
Chula
4
Vista,
years ago.
right?
I think he played for Stanford, so close. Philly and Seattle had a wide receiver for a defensive back trade. And I think it's kind of the first one we've seen this month, Jake. But that got my brain kind of moving a little bit, thinking, is that an avenue for the Colts to explore? A trade. Basically, a team looks at their roster and says, we have depth here. Let's find another team that has depth at a position of need, and let's see if we can pair those guys up and kind of be a win-win. I look at the Colts roster right now, though, and I'm thinking, where do they have an abundance of depth where you would think they could afford to move a guy that might be on their 53-man roster? I don't think the Colts are in dire depth questions at a ton of spots. Offensive line depth worries me a little bit. I don't think they're very proven there with Dennis Kelly banged up. But I also don't look at this team and think they've got 5 corners that could go play on Sunday, or they've got 4 running backs that could go play. So I don't know. Unless something jumps out at you, Jake, I don't really see a position that really stands out as they're deep. They've got the cupboard of stock there. They can make a move. Someone brought up, one of the national NFL writers brought up the name Nelson Aguilar yesterday, who's with the Patriots right now. He's got ties to Frank Reich from their Philly days. The thought is New England and Aguilar might not be a perfect marriage on the 53-man roster. Could he be a name that the Colts explore? So I think that's something over the next couple of weeks. Again, right now, I don't see anything too obvious, but with roster cuts, the final cuts 2 weeks from today, that's something I think to continue to watch.
Okay.
As far as a big name, Ben Banigou is always the popular one that we say with this. I think his roster spot is up in the air. Didn't think he did anything too noteworthy on Saturday in the preseason opener, and he's obviously going to get a ton of playing time this week with the starters not playing on Saturday.
Let me read you a text that I got yesterday, and I want you to grade it. Now, you teach classes, right?
Yes, teach a class at IU, spring semester.
So this is called...
Now, is this from a friend, a listener?
It's both? A listener. The name of this class that you are teaching is Colts Psychology.
Oh, jeez.
And this is a thesis from one of our students. Not a student, but this is from Matt. Now, I was on with J&V yesterday, and we discussed the Colts' stubbornness is probably the wrong word. Well, yeah, Chris Ballard kind of being on an island when it comes to his comfort level with the receivers, okay? Now, this is a little in-depth, but I thought it was really good. This is a text that I received. I promise this was not me that wrote this, but you tell me, I want you to grade this theory, this thesis, once I'm done reading it, okay?
Okay.
Condition: professional sports executive smartest in the room syndrome. Definition: taking such offense to public criticism of roster building philosophy as to double down on said philosophy to the point of making personnel decisions that would not have been made in a vacuum. Example: Chris Ballard drafting both Kwity Paye and Dio in rounds 1 and 2 of the 2021 draft, despite public outcry for selection of a wide receiver, particularly after already having traded 2020 pick for another defensive lineman rather than using it for a receiver like Justin Jefferson, Jerry Jeudy, or CeeDee Lamb. Cure, hitting on the double down efforts with such perfect precision as to create a team strength to offset the public policy needs. Symptoms: arrogance, condescension, and willful ignorance of teams' deficiencies that are obvious to even the most casual of fans. Prognosis: do this enough and you anger your own owner to the point of being fired. If that's his philosophy, it's his philosophy, but if he hasn't created a D-line that is historically great, there should be something to answer to. Maybe he has already. I sure hope so.
Boy, I felt like I've never entertained the thought, but I felt like I was deep in med school trying to consume all of that there. That was extremely thoughtful.
It was, but you know what?
Detailed. I think there's a ton of validity in that. I also would like to think that Chris Ballard is not making personnel moves off of stubbornness. I just simply think he doesn't value wide receiver, Jake. Doesn't value it a little bit more outside of the draft. I mean, he drafted Michael Pittman early second round. He drafted Paris Campbell in the second round, drafted Alec Pierce. I think the money that wide receivers are getting in today's NFL from a free agency standpoint, he does not hold in high regard.
And I can appreciate that again, part of it.
I disagree with that. Think back to January and February when we saw the teams continue to advance in the playoffs and the wide receivers named.
They all have playmakers, right?
And I'm glad you said playmakers, plural. Everything I've seen through 10 practices at Grand Park, the preseason opener on Saturday, it is only further strengthened, in my opinion, why I put Michael Pittman as the number one most indispensable player on this roster. They cannot afford to lose him at all costs.
Right.
He matters more just because of how much it drops off after him. Now, one note that we have, and again, the Colts get back to practice today. That is a noon session, joint practices with the Lions Wednesday and Thursday. Mike Strachan, removed from the physically unable to perform list yesterday, so he is eligible to practice today. He had off-season knee surgery. I think it was late spring, early summer on that. But we haven't seen him on the practice field in over 2 months. It is critical that he's back. The Colts, if they would have kept him on this list, they could have kept him on that to start the season. The fact that they've removed him from this list means he's going to have to earn a roster spot here in the next couple of weeks. You can't hide him with an injury designation like you could have previously. So Mike Strachan in 2 weeks will try and compete for a back end of the roster spot. I want to remind people of kind of what I saw with Strachan last year. 50-50 catches, Jake. Some kind of climb the ladder. I'm 6'5", use your size catches. I also saw several drops at training camp. And in the back of your mind, you were always curious, could he handle what comes on game days? He didn't play college football his final season due to COVID. The Division II level did not play. He was not a guy that was learning a ton of wide receiver positions last year, which is obviously a big thing on game day. You need to have trust. You need to be versatile, those things. He was not helping you out on special teams a great deal. The Colts tried to put him out there for the first 2 weeks. It did not work, and he barely played the rest of the season. So I am very interested to see.
How big is he?
Oh, gosh. I mean, you can do the height and weight thing. I'd guess 6'5", and look him up. I'll say 6'5", 218.
I'm just saying this. The height alone is there, right?
It is. We've talked about it before with wideout, though. Don't you want a little bit of diversification within that group, bless you, of the body types? Now, Desmond Patman, I don't think has shown a whole lot here in camp. And again, that first preseason game. So I think that's where Strachan is competing. But he's got to earn Matt Ryan's trust. I just felt like he didn't earn the coaching staff's trust completely last year, especially when they got into games. And kind of the other angle with this, Jake.
Give me your guess again on height and weight for Mike Strachan.
Go 6'5", 218. I could be a hair low on the weight, though.
How much does a hair weigh?
Well, it probably depends on whose hair you got. Can I go 222?
6'5", 224. Pretty darn good.
Might be reading too much into this, Jake, but let's go back to the opening day of training camp. 4 guys opened up on the physically unable to perform list. Rodney McLeod, Tyquan Lewis, Mike Strawn, and Shaquille Leonard. On that day, Chris Ballard said Lewis and McLeod should be back soon. I think they came off the PUP list like the next day. He said, we hope to get Mike Strawn back before camp is over. 2 weeks to go in camp, and Mike Strawn is back. There was never an update on Shaquille Leonard and his return. So if you're going off of those opening day timetables that Chris Ballard laid out, Lewis back quickly, McLeod back quickly, Mike Strawn back around the time that he said. Leonard was no public return date was mentioned. So for those looking for a Shaquille Leonard return date, if we're going to base it off of what Chris Ballard said 3 weeks ago, I still don't think we're in the imminent area of that. So you could go the whole camp at Grand Park. This week, 3 practices. Next week, 3 practices. And we won't see Shaquille Leonard on the field one day.
So it's hurry up and wait, and then it feels like I said, this is not totally foreign territory for Colts fans in terms of a star player, right? Hey, if it was a must-win, he'd be out there. Okay. No, trust me. If he had to play Sunday, he'd be available. Okay. Sunday rolls around. If it was a game where seeding mattered, he'd be out there. Okay. If it wasn't outside in cold weather, he'd be there. Okay.
Basically, week 1 is in question. And I don't know, maybe everyone thought that already. I think with Leonard's history, you kind of feel like he can defy the odds a little bit. But as we sit here less than a month away right now, that is still a question that remains to be answered. Historic Bowman Field. Thank you to John and I think Jeremy as well. That's where the Major League game is Sunday in Williamsport. So it's not at the same field.
Hey, Jake, can we just get off the receiver topic? Listen, blame Kevin.
2,300 people.
This has been nonstop for 3 years. Let's just see where what we got goes. Well, haven't we been doing that for 3 years?
I was going to say the reason why we're talking about it is because it's been a 3-year issue.
But here's the thing. By the way, this is from Twitter account Colts Are Fine.
Is that Ballard's burner account?
Well, it has 0 followers. It's following 9 people. Let's see who it follows. Fox News, JMV, Adam Schefter, UFC, NFL, Adrian Wojnarowski, Bleacher Report, Pat McAfee, and Ian Rappaport.
That's a really good burner account follow list right there.
Yep.
You know, cover the bases a little bit, throw in some politics, throw in some past players, throw in some current media people.
Ballard doesn't tweet those questions. He just thinks it and then says it aloud, right, Mark?
It definitely made me think. And I mean, Bowen, every time I freaking read or listen to Bowen, it's like a constant freaking barrage of wideouts.
Okay.
2,300 people at Bowman Field. This is cool. I don't know what the hell else they use it for, though. It's a minor league baseball stadium.
Okay, well, there's probably a minor. What's the minor league team that plays there?
I'll give you 37 guesses for the nickname.
Of the minor league team that plays there?
The collegiate summer baseball team that plays there.
Collegiate summer league team. So is it a college?
I think
this is the MLB Draft League.
Don't they go and they play, summer bats? They
Quakers.
Play wood bats. The Crosscutters.
What?
The Williamsport Crosscutters.
Well, that seems almost blasphemous. Unless you're cutting wood into a cross.
I can't say I'm too familiar with the background on that.
They're not running around with chainsaws chopping crosses in half, are they?
Gotta love this. They have 5 colors: red, navy, blue, gray, tan. Or I guess navy blue. Red, navy blue, gray, tan, and ivory. Let's just cover, 5 different colors that red and blue I guess kind of go together, but I don't think tan and ivory mix in with that.
The crosscut. Every play is the 666 triple play, right?
So, yes, we have a busy show today. Ryan Diem and Rick DeMulling together at 8:15. Now, they're the same draft class, right?
Was DeMulling a draft pick? I don't mean that condescendingly.
I thought he snuck in there.
I always, to be honest, open disclaimer, I get Rick DeMulling and Ryan Lilja confused. In terms of, I don't mean as guys.
Yeah.
I just mean as in terms of their careers.
DeMulling's a good
dude. DeMulling's an Idaho guy, right? Or is that Jake Scott?
Jake Scott is definitely Idaho.
So is DeMulling.
Well, yeah. Jake Scott I think he was drafted. I don't know. All those guys, now that you say it, kind of.
7th round pick for Rick DeMulling. That's a nice career for a 7th round pick.
That is. And then the GOAT, Joey Chestnut, is that 8:45 mark?
Yep.
Robert Mays from The Athletic at 9. I think one of the more well-respected national NFL people out there. And Patrick Vinson, the manager of the Hagerstown. Do we call them the Tigers because that's their high school nickname? Or are they like the Tiny Tigers?
That's the Little League team, the Tiger Cubs. Yeah, that's what they are, the Tiger
Now, they
Cubs.
all were wearing purple, their fans in the stands at the Great Lakes Championship game.
Is that what they were assigned?
Yeah, you are assigned a color now that I think about it, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that is something that I felt like Chula Vista was always sky blue. North Carolina blue.
Chula Vista, man, that made an impact on you.
Williamsport Crosscutters, by the way, they got their nickname as the tool that lumbermen used for their trade. The crosscut saw is what their tool of choice to harvest lumber. So there you go. There's no religious ties to it.
Okay, good. I want to make sure. I was worried about that for a while.
That'd be a hell of a nickname, though.
I mean,
It is a gorgeous Tuesday morning here in Indianapolis. Thanks for tuning in to Kevin and Query. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Before they break the streak of 8 consecutive opening day losses, the Colts need to practice.
But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice?
Yeah, practice.
Recap practice.
Follow the Colts' progress through camp with daily in-depth updates from Kevin Bowen.
It's been pretty uneventful.
At 1075thefan.com.
Making sure we have enough depth.
Your home for complete Colts coverage.
Who are we as a team?
Is 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Whether it's the news, the traffic, the weather, or your COVID-19 vaccinations, it's important to stay up to date. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Stay summer travel road ready at your Central Indiana CarX locations. AC inspection $19.99, lifetime brake pads $109.99 per axle. It's CarX online for the location nearest you, CarX.com.
It's a fact. Only 0.0001% of people will ever step up to the plate as a pro baseball player. For the rest of us, there's BetRivers.com sportsbook app featuring same-game parlays. You can combine different bets all from the same game. Totals? Bet 'em. Spreads? Bet 'em. Player props? It's a home run. Download the BetRivers.com sportsbook app today. It's a whole new game.
Must be 21. Must be located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
Circle K is America's thirst stop. And yours. Especially when the weather gets... and you need to stay refreshed on the go with ice-cold Circle K favorites like freshly ground iced coffee, Froster, Polar Pop Cup, and more. Think of it as the ultimate thirst-quenching, totally rehydrating summer splash zone. When life's go, 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 make us your first stop. Because Circle K is America's thirst stop.
Fine jewelry from Shane Company makes a great gift because it has so much sentimental value. It can hold a memory, carry a story, or signify a special event in your life. We design our jewelry in-house to ensure every piece is crafted to the highest standards. And we back that up with our free lifetime warranty. Whether you get a diamond necklace, a tennis bracelet, or a stunning 3-stone anniversary ring, Shane Company's classic styles have a beauty and elegance that will be appreciated forever. We also have trending new styles, like our 14-karat gold zodiac charms, fun paperclip chains, luminous opal earrings and pendants, as well as a truly special limited edition collection featuring cherry pink tourmaline sourced by Tom Shane. Make your gift even more special by personalizing it with a birthstone or an engraving. Capture your sentiment with a gift from Shane Company.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Alice in Chains and Breaking Benjamin. Live in concert this summer with Bush, plus special guests. Tomorrow night at Ruoff Music Center. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com. Get up and get outside this summer with Alice in Chains and Breaking Benjamin.
O'Reilly. When was the last time you changed your spark plugs? Replacing your spark plugs can restore the efficiency and performance of your vehicle. Stop by and get a $12 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase 4 or more select Iridium spark plugs. Get better performance with new spark plugs from your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. The Morning Checkdown. Omaha! Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Relieving your joint pain at QCkinetics.com. On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
AP College Football preseason top 25 has been released. The number one team in the land, no surprise. The Crimson Tide of Alabama getting 54 first-place votes, just ahead of Ohio State and Georgia, the only others to be receiving votes for number one. Clemson, Notre Dame round out the top 5. Mark Dykton could be number 1 through 25.
21.
Number 21 team in the land, Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss Rebels. Mark or Kevin?
13.
Number 13. This is a sneaky good team. Wolfpack, North Carolina State.
Did I see yesterday, I saw it floated around on Twitter, that Purdue receiving votes in the AP poll for the first time in 17 seasons?
You did see that correctly. In 17, the key number, that's exactly how many votes they got.
And that's preseason poll. They had to have received votes at the end of last year,
Yeah, I think
right?
they're talking about preseason.
Okay.
In the preseason ranking. Give me one more number for me, Mark.
25.
I get the Cougars of BYU.
There you go.
Notre Dame's got them in Vegas. Nothing says Notre Dame and BYU like Las Vegas.
Nothing
right?
says Cougars like Vegas.
Well, that too. 2 weeks from Thursday, Purdue and Penn State. Good things underway in the college football. That was the Joe Buck trade game, right?
What's that?
One of the networks traded for Joe Buck. Is Joe Buck now Monday Night Football?
Yeah,
on ESPN.
He and Troy went to
That's right.
Monday Night Football.
So is that game on Fox? ESPN would have sent that game to Fox for the trade. Look this up, Mark.
When does Joe Buck? When is he done at Fox?
He's done now.
Yeah,
Joe Davis. They'll be doing Monday Night Football.
So that's why the other night when I was watching Major League, that's why
Joe Davis and Smoltz.
Right. Is Joe Davis the Dodgers guy?
Yes.
Young guy, right?
Yeah.
Major League Baseball, speaking of that, Reds yesterday on the short end against the Phillies 4-3. It was the Cubs losing to the Nats 5-4. Other games of note: Braves over the Mets 13-1. Dodgers over the Brewers 4-0. American League, the Tigers and Guardians splitting a doubleheader. White Sox 4-2 over the Astros. Cute fella over the Blue Jays 7-3. Indianapolis Indians were off yesterday.
Today, Colts back on the practice field at Grand Park. 6 practices left. 3 this week, 3 next week. I would expect a pretty light session today. Just over an hour is the scheduled practice time. Again, that begins at noon. And then tomorrow, the Detroit Lions come to town for the joint practices on Wednesday and Thursday at Grand Park ahead of Saturday's preseason home opener, which is a 1 o'clock kick over at Lucas Oil Stadium. And just a reminder, we will see some roster moves today for the Colts. They have to get that roster from 90 to 85. That is a league-wide rule. I believe it's by 4 o'clock today, so should have some movement coming up there.
This article is from March, so bear with me. It says that Joe Buck's contract, the ESPN paid to get Joe Buck out of his contract with Fox, per Sports Business Journal, was Fox will carry an extra Big Ten football game the upcoming season, rumored to be Penn State Purdue on September 1st. So again, that was in March though, so that could have changed. It could be BYU. I'm not sure.
No, it is Purdue Penn State. Yeah,
that's correct. Okay then.
So that is
So there you go.
Debut game on Fox here 2 weeks from Thursday. Don't they usually play a game like in Hawaii this week? Or am I imagining things? Was that before COVID? I feel like Cal played a game. No, maybe it was Australia.
Sure it's not Chula Vista?
Could be Chula Vista.
I tell you what, Chula Vista, have you seen them play football, Jake?
Well, and they got a linebacker standing next to the president in 2009 when they won. So, yeah.
We're getting into some non-Colts wide receiver talk. We'll do that next year coming up. Kevin and Query, 93.5 107.5, The Fan.
The preseason continues as the Colts host the Detroit Lions. Coverage Saturday morning at 10 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
What QC Kinetics is doing for people here in Indy is nothing short of amazing. If you have joint pain, any joint pain, you need to call QC Kinetics. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics started with one clinic last year, but the demand has been so strong they have clinics in Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and more are on the way. So many people are living their best life again, pain-free, thanks to QC Kinetics. These are modern advances in regenerative medicine, allowing your body's own healing power to get you back moving how you should be. If you have pain in your knees, hips, back, shoulder, don't let them keep you on steroids and don't let them believe that surgery is your only option. You need to call for a free consultation and see what QC Kinetics is talking about. 463-235-7160. Again, locations in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. That is QC Kinetics at 463-235-7160.
Hey, it's JMV for the absolute best in realty. Mark Deedle Realty, 317-755-4232. That's 317-755-4232. Online, markdeedle.com. That's markdeedl.com. Today. So, how about Randy in Indianapolis? Had a rental property. He was ready to sell to cash out in on a hot market. Selling fast was good, but more importantly, he was looking to sell for the top dollar. Mark Deedle delivered on both. He got 20 offers and sold for $15,000 over the asking price in just a few weeks. That's why Mark Deedle's the best. Mark Deedle has a guarantee for you. Multiple offers on your home in 3 days, or he is going to list it for free. That's Mark Deedle Realty, 317-755-4232, 317-755-4232. MarkDeedle.com. That's MarkDeedl.com today.
At Eskenazi Health, our patients are treated with compassion and skill. That's why Eskenazi Health is looking for professionals who share our mission and are dedicated to serving the community. As an employee of Indiana's top hospital for social responsibility and community health investment, you'll enjoy excellent benefits, competitive pay, and unwavering leadership support. Learn more about Eskenazi Health careers online at eskenazihealth.edu/careers.
Listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Because I am, without question, the most thoughtful of the three of us, I went ahead and closed the drapes and blinds here for Mark Dykton because he was getting absolutely blasted with what is a gorgeous sunrise this morning on a Tuesday in Indianapolis. Good morning to you. My name is Jake Query. Kevin Bowen, the other voice you hear here, along with Mark Dykton. It is Kevin and Query on 93.5, 107.5. And I got to tell you something. They hired a marketing team to come up with that name, and it was $100,000 they paid. $100,000 they paid for that. And then they redesigned the IU logo to come up with the name of the program. You had mentioned, Kevin, that we were going to talk a little whiteouts, right?
Well, I was going to try and steer away from whiteouts for a segment, considering we talk about it a whole lot. I thought that was an interesting text that you had earlier in regards to the defensive line. You know, of all the investments, I know initially that question was wide receiver related, but defensive line wise, the trade for DeForest Buckner a few years ago, 13th overall pick, drafting Kwity Paye in the first round, drafting Dayo Dangbo in the first round. You still have second round picks on your roster in Tyquan Lewis, Ben Banogu. Obviously, you've paid, or I shouldn't say paid yet, but you gave up a significant player in Rock Yassin for Yannick Ngakoue as well. I would say no group on the roster has more invested than defensive line. And, we saw him for 9 snaps on Saturday in Buffalo. Jake, that is the group that if they take a jump and it's the rival of Ngakoue, it's the second year growth that you're hoping to see from Kwity Paye. For Dayo Dangbo, it's more just being healthy and then obviously second year growth as well. If that group can take the leap that you expect it, now all of a sudden I think we talk about this defense in a different light. I never thought the defense under Eberflus was playoff built. Does Ngakoue's arrival in the second year jumps for those guys, can it be playoff built?
They've got some pretty good players on defense, to be fair, right?
I think Ngakoue, again, can be that difference maker. Pay and Dio, I haven't seen it on a consistent basis yet in camp. I know Dio had a few plays going up against the Bills backups on Saturday. But if that group with a different philosophy from Gus Bradley, again, it is a very much of we're getting upfield right away. We're not reading and reacting. It is, get to that quarterback ASAP and kind of stop the run as you get there. If that group can take that jump, I think that can be a unit that is just a little bit more consistent, a little bit more reliable. And when you're playing the AFC West quarterbacks, if you can get a 4-man rush with those guys and drop 7, now I think you have a unit that's better equipped to handle them.
Ngakoue is, to me, a fascinating part of the whole picture for the Colts because in my mind, I think of him as like a major impact player. But is he did they acquire him, Kevin, to be a major impact player or to be a really solid rotational piece while, say, Buckner is your major impact guy? Does that make sense? Like, I think of him, I almost think that I'm creating in my mind too much expectation for him.
I think Ngakoue, in a way, Jake, is a little bit like Buddy Hield. In that, and I know Hield gets up a bunch of shots, so he can kind of be flashy in that way. But your appreciation for them will feel it a little bit more in December, where it's week 14, the grind of the NFL season is alive and well, and guys are banged up, guys are hurt, some guys have missed multiple weeks, and there's Ngakoue playing a premium position, and he's suited up every single week. All the injuries around the Pacers last season, and there's Buddy Hield, night in and night out, continuing to suit up, producing at some level. It's not an all-star level, but he's producing at a nice level. That's Ngakoue. He plays virtually every single game. I think he's been in the league for 5 years. He's missed 2 games. That's unheard of, frankly, at that position, particularly here in this market. If you look at his sack numbers, it's not going to wow you in like 17 sack seasons, 15 sack seasons. But if he can play 16, 17 games and get you double-digit sacks, that's all you can ask for considering where you've been at that position. So, to your point, I think DeForest Buckner is more of the all-pro type of talent. I'd put Ngakoue just a notch below that. But you got to think he's going to be hungry in a contract year. I mean, hell, look at him on social media.
Now, he's supposed to join the program at some point, right?
I think that's a little bit up in the air. I don't know.
Really? Well, he said he wants to come on.
I don't. Is that him running the old Twitter account?
You think it might be somebody else?
Yeah. How many professional athletes run their own social media?
Ooh, I think in the NFL a decent amount, right?
Kevin Durant for sure.
What do you think, 90%?
I think Pat McAfee did, right? Should I not sit here and just with the cucumber?
No, that's.
Mark, flagged on YouTube if
Mark,
you do anything
turn
else
off this
with that
camera,
thing.
please?
Inappropriate content.
What?
I'm saying, watch what you're doing with your hands with that thing.
Why would somebody just leave a cucumber in here? Seems an odd thing. I come in this morning and sitting on the keyboard is a cucumber.
I don't know.
I really have a strong urgency to like snap it and then eat it like a banana.
Please do that after like at 10:02.
Just saying, for what it's worth.
Gosh.
So you don't believe that Yannick Ngakoue...
Well, it seems like a lot, doesn't it? And I don't know, maybe I'm being a little too cynic here, but like, I feel like he's like all of a sudden best friends with everybody in the media market. I'm like, does he know these people?
Might just be a friendly guy. Says he'd like to come on the program.
He's doing outstanding stuff.
He is.
In the community. I'm not denying that. I just not 100% sure if he's pressing send on all those tweets.
By the way, speaking of that, and I want to thank everybody that sent tickets. Last night, we had, as a matter of fact, I had a text message at one point here. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Looks like about 22 different kids at IPS School 103 were informed last night they are headed to the Colts game this weekend. Now, there is a Lawrence Township school over on the far east side near 42nd and Post for Lawrence Township, and I got in touch with one of their teachers yesterday, so that will be the Tampa Bay game. Now, if you have tickets for the Colts preseason game against the Bucs and you are not going to be attending or not using them, certainly understand that. If you would like them to go to an at-risk or simply a child that otherwise would not necessarily, at-risk is such a condescending thing to say, I guess, but a child that would not normally get the opportunity to go to a Colts game, I have a teacher now in Lawrence Township that will be facilitating those to the kids over on the far east side. You can always send me the tickets electronically. JakeQuery@me.com, as I always say, easiest way to remember it. My two favorite people, JakeQuery@me.com, and we will get those tickets distributed.
Absolutely love that, and thank you to everyone out there.
Yeah, a lot of people volunteered, which I appreciate very much.
I've done that because I know there are so many times where those preseason tickets just go to waste, frankly.
I'm sure, right?
People just don't, care about
sending
them away or sending them to people that will actually go to the games.
Speaking of NFL defensive players working on the Amazon Prime broadcast this year, former NFL cornerback, and I always pronounce his first name incorrectly, Aqib Talib. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, they got spot on. He has had some really unfortunate news, right, with his brother?
Yeah, Aqib Talib lives in the Dallas area, and he and his brother together coach a youth football league team. And I believe that Aqib Talib was also in attendance when this happened, but there was a dispute about the officiating of a youth league football game, and one of the coaches for an opposing team, Michael Hickman, who appears to have been just a pillar in the community in that Dallas area that was a coach, 43 years old, was fatally shot by Aqib Talib's brother, who yesterday turned himself in. Hickman, by the way, tragically, his sister, also a victim of gun violence. And I kind of looked at Hickman's story, and by all accounts, just a great guy. I mean, a guy that gave his own time to coach little kids, and I may have been a teacher, but definitely a youth league coach in the area. But some sort of a dispute over a way the game was officiated. Talib pulls out a gun after an argument and fatally shot Hickman. He turned himself in yesterday. It remains to be seen how this will affect Aqib Talib's work in terms of doing games for Amazon Prime, because he was there and is, obviously distraught and devastated over the incident as a witness to it.
Absolutely horrific. Absolutely.
Unbelievable, right?
Talib, I want to say last year was his first year. Does that sound right, Mark? His first year doing the broadcast? Mm-hmm. I mean, because he was a player.
Right. He's a good player.
Pretty close to this past season. Jake, you brought up the preseason games just a few minutes ago, and I think it's something interesting to note on these joint practices coming up tomorrow and Thursday. If you think about it, this will be the last time, Wednesday and Thursday, that the Colts go good against good until the season starts. And when I say good against good, I mean your starters against their starters.
Right.
Now, some might argue how good Detroit starters are. That's fair. We're going to have somebody on tomorrow, Mark, to preview kind of the Lions side of things. Yep. Because I am curious, what does your cornerback group look like? Remember they drafted Jeffrey Okudah, right? Pretty high from Ohio State.
Really good player.
And struggled as a rookie. I think he had a decent preseason game last week. But I'm just curious, where are Detroit's strengths? Aiden Hutchinson against Matt Pryor. Like, those things, I do think they have a decent O-line for what it's worth.
Yeah, Dave Burkett from the Detroit Free Press will join us tomorrow.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for that. But when you think about it, the Colts had 5 opportunities in August to have good against good. And some of this is out of the Colts' control, frankly. The first opportunity was last Saturday in the preseason opener. The Colts threw their good out there. They threw 20 starters out there. Buffalo did not. Okay, cross that off the list. We know that Detroit and Indianapolis have already agreed not to play their starters this coming Saturday in the second preseason game. So cross that off the list. You look at the preseason finale, which is a week from Saturday against Tampa. Has Tom Brady, have we heard a date on when he's supposed to be back?
Didn't they say 2 weeks? 2 to 3 weeks he was expected, that it was prearranged that he would miss.
And that was what, like last Thursday?
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
I mean, end of camp, basically.
So 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, Brady, I don't know, who knows if Brady would even play in the preseason game anyways. There's a chance, potentially a good chance, that Brady's not on the field next Saturday night in the preseason finale here at Lucas Oil Stadium. So the Colts obviously wouldn't see Tampa Bay's starting quarterback.
Who's Tampa's backup?
A kid from Florida,
Is
right?
it still Josh Freeman?
Kyle Trask. Josh Freeman.
For his 7th round, I think it is Trask, yeah.
Well, last year, or maybe the Super Bowl year, didn't Blaine Gabbert get a ring?
Gabbert is currently the second on the depth chart, and then it's Kyle Trask and Ryan Griffin.
Ryan Griffin, what college?
Griffin's had a nice run. I'm going to go Louisiana
I'm going to
Tech.
go Wake Forest.
Hold
Mark?
on, I have to log in apparently to view this thing.
I've got it here.
Ryan Griffin's
Tulane.
college.
Huh?
Ooh, I was close. Tulane's in New Orleans, right?
It is.
Louisiana Tech's kind of in some random Louisiana city. So
Louisiana Tech's 2 most famous athletic products?
Karl Malone.
That's one.
And probably some women's basketball player.
No, whoa, not bad.
Aren't they like unreal? The Monarchs, right?
They've been really good in women's basketball. That's correct, but that's not it.
It's somebody really famous.
It is.
Gosh. What sport?
Football. 4 rings.
Bradshaw?
Yes. Terry Bradshaw, Louisiana Tech. Kevin is looking at himself with total disdain.
But Jake, what I'm getting at here is these 5 instances you could have gotten your starters against their starters. It's looking like Wednesday and Thursday will be the only time you get that in August.
Yeah.
And again, it's still in a practice setting. So I think that is why these next 2 days, albeit it's not live speed and it is Detroit, is so critical. Because you can go back to Saturday and in a way you can be like, hey, we weren't scheming anything up. We weren't doing any of that. Well, in a way, when you say that, it almost looks worse on how your starters played in that game offensively. If you're saying, hey, we didn't scheme anything up, Buffalo's not scheming anything up. So that means your 1s versus their 2s just flat out got beat. Got beat in the offensive line, beat in the pass catching game. So I think that is what adds to why Wednesday and Thursday is the closest thing you're going to get from a barometer standpoint to starting caliber players in the NFL facing off against each other until September 11th. We'll see if Brady's back. Maybe he will be. Maybe Tampa Bay's defense will play in that preseason finale. But as we saw with Buffalo, I think teams that have had success recently, and there hasn't been much coaching staff turnover, Tampa Bay, of course, it's the same staff minus Arians, they might choose not to treat it like the Colts are planning to treat it. Because the Colts are planning to play their starters. It sounds like a good amount a week from Saturday.
You know, I'll be curious to ask Ryan Diem and Rick DeMulling, who are going to join us just about 25 minutes from now. From their days, Kevin, you know, as NFL players, how much does that? I think you make a really good point. How much does that hurt them to not go against, you know, if the old adage is iron sharpens iron, I mean, I get it, it's a cliche, but there's probably some truth to it. How much does it hurt them if they're not going against true first-round reps at any point in the preseason, you know?
Yeah, I think that is something that, again, it's a little bit out of your control, but that is a question.
By the way,
Rick
DeMulling went to Idaho. Is it University of Idaho or Idaho University? I used to be an expert at this. You name the state, I can tell you. University of or blank university.
I'm going to go University.
I'm going to say University of Idaho.
That is correct. Nothing used to drive me more crazy than David Stern every year. Now, granted, it wasn't like David Stern was calling a lot of first-round picks from Indiana over the course of his career. But Calbert Chaney, Alan Henderson, Greg Graham, Brian Evans, I mean, he had his fair share. From the University of Indiana. No, it's Indiana University. Drives me, nails on a chalkboard
Shouldn't
to me.
It be on the card right in front of him?
It drove me. They must just put Indiana, right? And so he would just say, with the 6th pick, the Washington Bullets select Calbert Chaney from the University of Indiana. Nails on a chalkboard.
Not to feed the ego, but you do a good Stern impression.
Well, thank you. Granted, he's no longer with us and hasn't been the commissioner in a handful of years, but if he ever resurfaces, there's a future for me.
Jake, this is awesome from Jeremy. He just reached out, messaged me. Can I buy a few preseason tickets and donate them to you guys to give away? That would be an incredible gesture.
Awesome.
On that front. One more time on the email, Jake.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you buy tickets, my understanding is, because I don't have season tickets for the Colts, and I would assume single game tickets, this is also the case. They are electronically sent now. I mean, that's the world we live in, obviously, right? So you simply forward the tickets themselves. It has a thing on there where you can forward the tickets. So you forward the email with the tickets attached to it, or you go through the Colts bot, because it says the Indianapolis Colts sends me the email and it says Jeremy has sent you tickets. Jake Query, that's my name, JakeQuery. Jake Query at me.com, me.com. That's MaryElizabeth.com.
ME. It's also branded on Jake's forehead if you ever see him in public.
That's right.
Baby Knox was born yesterday. Remember we gave a shout out to him?
Heck yeah.
Yep. So shout out there to Baby Knox. They said they really appreciated the comfort. I didn't pry and ask if we were in the waiting room or in the delivery room, instead of soothing music. Yeah, 93.5. Do you guys get that in here?
I look forward to about 4 years from now when he's taking apart the sofa with the cushions and making Fort Knox. It'd be awesome.
God.
What?
That was...
I regretted the compliment on the David Stern as soon as I said it because I knew it would just open up more.
I'm just saying.
In my opinion, that sucked.
I don't think it did at all. I think it was great.
Less than an hour, one of the greatest athletes of my and Jake, I'd argue your generation as well, will join us. He is one.
You are fired up.
One Joseph Chestnut. 20. Did I read this correct? 29 boxes of popcorn in 8 minutes. That's the plan for him next Tuesday night.
Dude.
Is it next Tuesday or is it this Tuesday?
What if the little kernels get stuck in your uvula?
So tonight at the Indians game.
Has that ever happened to you, Mark?
Yeah, many times.
3 1-minute dollar menu challenges. It's dollar menu night over
is it
Victory
really?
Field.
I'm supposed to go to the game tonight.
Well, Joey Chestnut will be there. You'll be in the presence of greatness.
By the way, this is being requested. Can you do a British David Stern?
There's no way anyone's texted you that.
With the first pick. I can't.
29 boxes of
You just have to slow
popcorn
that
in
down.
8 minutes. Those are 24-ounce boxes. Now, that's a lot of butter.
I mean, are these...
And salt.
Yeah, the
And
salt
salt.
is... That's rough, man.
I don't think Mottman would sign Jake off on that one.
I don't know how you would do that because you've got to chew, right? A little bit of it?
How about the
You have
choke?
to chew a lot of it, I would think.
Yeah.
How about the choke slam he had in that Nathan's eating contest? I mean, that was... He looked like he was a black belt in karate.
I'll be curious to ask him which of the different food challenges he has done, not as the most physically challenging, but the most digestively challenging.
I was going to say, I will ask him. I'm like, do you go to the bathroom more than the average human?
Okay.
That's what you're going to ask him?
I popped in my mind.
You'd like to know if Joey, despite his celebrity, is still a regular guy, Mark.
Sure. You know?
That's a loaded question.
Well, in more ways than one. All right, we come back here. Ryan Diem, Rick DeMulling, they're going to join us to talk about a really fun event that I've been a part of before. That's coming up on Monday. We'll do that next here. Kevin McQuarrie.
This time last year, the world watched the Colts on Hard Knocks. That
disaster for Indianapolis
didn't go so well.
Unbelievable.
Guess what? They're back. Only this time they're following the Lions straight into joint practice with the Colts.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
And then the game at Lucas Oil Stadium. Colts, Lions, Saturday at 1.
Matt looked pretty sharp.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
You need a lawn care pro and a pest control pro. You can have both in one guy. You. DoMyOwn.com will help you get there with pro products, pro knowledge, and pro support. DoMyOwn.com for the pro in you.
Do you know a volunteer who deserves a year's worth of free vehicle maintenance? Tell us their story and nominate them. Click the Do More tab at JiffyLubeIndiana.com.
Hey, it's JMV here for John and Chris Love. That's Love Heating and Air, 317-353-2141. I would not trust anybody else with my cool and comfort in-house and making sure that my system is running efficiently. If you feel as if yours isn't, 353-2141. Get that checkup from John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air, making sure it doesn't cost you money and you remain cool and comfortable. Love Heating and Air, 317-353-2141 online, love-hvac.com today.
August 20th, UFC 278 is going down, and Twin Peaks is the place to be.
For the first time in 7 years, Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards are meeting face-to-face in the octagon. That hasn't happened since their first fight. Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare, holds the belt. Can Leon Rocky Edwards take the win in their welterweight title bout? Get to Twin Peaks for every second of knockout action. Contact your favorite lodge for availability and cover charge info. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Alice in Chains and Breaking Benjamin. Live in concert this summer with Bush, plus special guests. Tomorrow night at Ruoff Music Center. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Get up and get outside this summer with Alice in Chains and Breaking Benjamin.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis.
Join me today, Dan Miller, the voice of the Detroit Lions, going to join. Dan Campbell's crew comes in this week, and we're going to talk about it today with Dan Miller, voice of the Lions, and Chappie.
It's Kevin and Query.
We'll have some classes at times.
Hey, quit calling the plays, all right?
Hey, we got to run the ball.
Please pass, watch. We'll run the ball.
Can we run it down there?
Just play.
We run it down.
Yeah, Jeff.
Okay, so
we will. All right, when we call pass plays, block.
On 93.5
Boom, baby.
and 107.5. The Fan.
It is a beautiful Tuesday morning. Here at Indianapolis, we've got a loaded guest line. Really, the rest of the show. Ryan Diem, Rick DeMulling coming up in about 10 minutes. Joey Chestnut at 8:45. He will be over at Victory Field each of the next Tuesday nights. We'll explain more in a bit. Robert Mays from The Athletic. I think he was one of the guys that kind of tried to push Zach Kiefer towards doing that Andrew Luck podcast series. We'll hit on other stuff, trust me, with him. National NFL writer. He will join us at 9 o'clock. And then the manager of the Hagerstown Little League team that is off to Williamsport for their game on Thursday. That is Patrick Vinson. His son, Graham, had the walk-off to send them to Williamsport. He will join us at 9:30. So should we push the pop quiz?
Yeah.
Nothing like making show decisions on air.
Yeah.
You guys want to push that to 9:45?
Are we doing we're giving away our first fantasy team?
Yes, Mark, thank you for mentioning this. Okay, this is when Jake was doing laps around the office yesterday while we were on air.
Listen. Just so people know. Somebody around here has got to be the guy that falls on the sword and becomes the liaison towards representing this program to the different areas of our coworkers. There are engineers that need to know what we're doing. There are salespeople that need to know what we're doing. There's marketing people that need to know what we're doing. And so somebody's got to be the one that goes around and talks to these people, facilitates, represents, etc.
That's how you get cucumbers put on your keyboard.
Well, so here's the thing.
And that's what Mark and I do for you. We let you know what's happening on the show.
Yeah.
So every morning, to fall on that sword, I walk around to do these things and then confirm that, in fact, there is no one else working in the building, and so therefore there's no one to talk to, and then I come back in and I join you guys. So I've never actually had these conversations, but I'm willing to if anybody was actually here.
Fantasy Football League for Kevin and Query. It'll be a 12-team league is what we've decided. Mark, myself, and Jake will represent 3 of the teams, so that means 9 slots open. And how we're going to do it is the next 4 days of this week and then the 5 days the following week. The person that joins us on the pop quiz will earn entry into the league.
Now, should they have to really earn it, like go 3 out of 5, or how are we doing? Or just they get free entry?
Yeah, I think free entry.
Okay.
If you can survive the phone lines, you deserve.
No hints?
No hints. So Mark will take down contact info. When the league is created, we will contact said person.
What do you want to
call if you want to be in the league, obviously.
Yes.
And this is around 9:45 for today in the pop
You want to
quiz.
do ESPN? You want to do Yahoo? What do you want? What are your preferences for this fantasy league?
I think as an ESPN station, we stick with
toe the company
worldwide
line
leader. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of how Yahoo looks.
I spray to both fields in fantasy football
What's that?
season. Well, I spray to both fields. I'm in a fantasy league in
What are you, a
ESPN.
sprinkler?
Yeah, I go all over the place.
Okay.
Speaking of that, Vince goes, just stopped at the Hagerstown exit on my way to Akron. 1,800 people is very believable for this town. You ever been to Hagerstown, Jake?
I have. I got a ticket there once.
The cucumber mystery is also solved. They said JMV was reenacting the scene from Animal House with the cucumber. So I guess he left it on your keyboard.
Okay. Well, thank you. He has me on his show yesterday, and then he leaves me a cucumber.
I can only imagine you and JMV's conversations off air.
Actually, we had one last night. He called me at about 9 o'clock. Typically, the phone conversation ends with Shannon going, "Who were you talking to?"
I'm a little nervous. Maddie just texted me and goes, "I agree with Jake there."
In regards to?
I'm nervous. What could you have possibly said that Maddie would say that she agrees with you?
I have a question. Rick DeMulling, by the way, Ryan Diem going to coming up here in about 10 minutes. But I want to ask you guys this. This is back to school time and Little League World Series time.
Yes.
Which I think naturally creates a nostalgia in people. I have a question for you guys, and I want you to tell me if I'm out of my mind or if other people can relate to this. The elementary school that I attended, Allisonville Elementary, did not have, in the early years that I was there, and this is not like some 1950s, I had to walk uphill both ways type thing. I don't recall them having air conditioning in the school. If they did, they minimally used it. So the windows were usually cracked with oscillating fans in the classroom. And when I think of the opening week of school, I can still hear the faint sound of lawnmowers or the oscillating fans, and I can still smell exactly what new folders and or new pencils smell like, and the little pink slabbed erasers. Now, does that make me?
I used to bite those erasers.
Did you really?
Oh yeah.
Does this make me like completely bizarre, or do you think there are people driving in their car like, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about?
1,000%, I can smell it right now.
And I smell the sawdust from the kid that yacked in the hallway.
They bring the goldfish cracker bag of the sawdust in.
I can hear the creak of the wheel of the TV that's being wheeled in when you had a substitute teacher.
It was the best, wasn't it? That was the best.
Put on the movie. For maybe, I don't know, Mark and I, it was a big deal if you had like a mechanical pencil.
Yeah.
So I can think of like the little
click.
Hey, do you have 0.5 or 0.7 lead?
Those mechanical pencils,
valuable.
Those mechanical pencils, I constantly broke them though. I would like get too much of the lead out and then snap it every time.
It's so valuable. Yeah, they were the durability. Would they be the Malcolm Brogdons of pencils?
The Jonathan Benders, yes.
Yeah.
That's correct. I'm telling you, like, those things, though, and then in Little League Baseball, I can still, when it comes to the Little League World Series, I can still recall, did you guys in your Little League, did you get a single ticket after the game that you got to redeem at the concession stand for one item?
No, I did not.
No, I think we just got to go up there and I
sprinted over there after the game. And
what did you get? What was your go-to?
Walking taco.
Yeah, I'd usually do walking taco and like a Gatorade or something.
Walking taco?
Yeah. Don't tell me you don't know what a walking taco is.
I do not.
Oh my goodness.
What is it?
Oh my goodness. We might need to go to break early.
Can you do me a favor?
Okay.
I don't bring the cucumber with you when you do this, but will you just go to a Little League park this weekend? And just go to the concession stands and ask for a walking taco?
Is it different than a Choco Taco?
Very different, yes.
Okay, because those things are awesome. What about Astro Pops? Were those gone by the time you guys were around?
I'd have to look that up.
So walking taco.
Did you guys grow up in too soft an era for the Astro Pop? It's too dangerous.
Primarily in a Fritos bag. Sometimes I would.
I know it.
I try to get a little sneaky and say, "Do you have any Doritos back there?" Cut open the Fritos bag, insert taco into.
Okay, I do know what that
Fritos.
is. Yes.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
Outstanding.
Okay, what about?
Why don't they sell those at do they sell those in Major League ballparks?
I think they do.
Snow cones?
Yeah.
Did you ever get the snow cone? That was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You get that and a beer bat, and you talk about a Tuesday night over at Victory Field. Walking taco and a beer bat.
So tonight, if I'm going to the Indians game, it's our annual Robin Miller tribute night. Should I ask for a walking taco?
Oh, you going with like Chap and all them?
Yeah, Chap, the Benners.
So that's
Mark
where you guys
Brody,
sit way far away and
Dave
tell stories?
Scoggin. That's right. We sit up in the upper deck.
Tom Reitman going to be there?
Tom Reitman will be there.
Tell Tom I said hello.
He's a great dude.
Great individual.
I was always thrilled. It's basically the Indianapolis Star guys, which I was not, except for the first job that I got. I was in college, and Robin had written an article with which I did not agree. I didn't know Robin Miller at all. I called him on the phone to speak my mind. He asked who I was, and I said, I go to IU, and he said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to be a sports reporter, broadcaster, whatever. And I was kind of moonlighting at Channel 6 behind the scenes at the time, but Robin said, well, do you want a real job? I said, what do you mean? And he said, why don't you come work for the Star? And he literally said, like, drive up here on a Tuesday. So I drove up and walked in, and he said, let's go down and see if they need people in the Agate Bureau. And they hired me on the spot because Robin recommended me. And he treated me from that day. I mean, he has always said, like, son, you were a Star guy. Well, yeah, I mean, I worked in the Agate Bureau for 2 years of college.
And those duties would have been
taking phone calls on Friday nights back when, they still ran the box scores for the high school games. I was one of the 6 or 8 guys and girls that took the phone calls when coaches would call in and print the box score up in a little game recap on football or basketball nights. I loved it. It was a great job. But as far as Robin was concerned, I was a fellow columnist. I mean, he treated everybody as if they were. So when they do that Star reunion night, he always included me. And after Robin passed, which was basically a year ago next week, Bill Benner said, you know what, we got to continue to do this. So we do, in the wintertime, we do a dinner at Iria's. And I mean, I am a fly on the wall for this. I mean, I'm the lowest of the grouping for sure, but it is a huge thrill of mine, and it's a huge honor to be a part of it. So we are scheduled to do that tonight. Now, there was some talk that we might reschedule because several people, I guess, Joan Jett, Poison. What's the concert that's
Def Leppard?
I think
Motley Crue.
Are they all staying around here? I don't want to say the name of the hotel, but there's a downtown hotel, and
those are the tickets we gave away on the pop quiz a while back.
That's right. There's a bunch of tour buses right here along downtown, and so I figured they're all staying next door.
I don't know if they're here just yet. What was it today? Yeah, it is today. So it's either that tonight. Or I think there's
Well, the concert's at 4. It starts at 4 o'clock. It's like all night. Yeah. It's an all-night deal.
Boy, that and Joey Chestnut at Victory Field. I mean, come on. Look at us drawing these events to the city of Indianapolis. Back-to-back Tuesdays for Joey Chestnut. He'll join us here in about a half hour. Ryan Diem and Rick DeMulling going to join us in about in a few minutes. Colts news from yesterday. We'll see how much Mike Strachan practices today. Again, the second-year wideout who made some highlight plays for the Colts last year during training camp has not practiced all camp, came off the PUP list yesterday. Could be out there today. They kind of eased some of those PUP guys back into practice, but with final roster cuts 2 weeks from today, and considering what you have at wide receiver right now, very important for Mike Strachan to get up to speed and try and build some trust with Matt Ryan. The other injury that I think we should get an update on is Kiki Kuti, who did get hurt in the preseason opener. The Colts were really healthy on Saturday in that game. None of their starters got hurt. Kuti did injure his groin, and this is a guy that's battled injuries throughout his career, particularly soft tissue injuries. So Strachan and Kuti aren't the same body types.
May I ask a question?
But that is something to keep an eye on.
What exactly is the hard tissue?
Yeah, boy, that's, yeah.
I don't mean that. I'm not trying to be, but I'm honestly, I hear all the time about soft tissue injury, and I'm like, that. Couldn't you just say a tissue injury?
Maybe text whoever texted you that medical diagnosis of Chris Ballard the other night.
Should I ask Mottman as the unofficial doctor of the program?
Yeah.
What is it? What's the difference between soft tissue and hard tissue?
He'd be the man to ask, I think.
I mean, he's got a medical degree, right? At least I hope he does. Are you asking that on the air?
No, I'm asking off the air.
We need to have a meeting about these on-air production. Isn't our boss gone for the next 3 days? Gee, you can't tell. In lieu of the fact that Ryan Diem and Rick DeMulling are coming on the program here in a few minutes, let's do a quick morning checkdown.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by QC Kinetics, relieving your joint pain at QCkinetics.com on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Now, Mark, how long would you like me to do this morning checkdown? Do you need me to stretch it so you can call Ryan and Rick, or do you need me to do this quickly?
No, you can do it quickly.
Do we have a break coming up, or are we keeping this all the way through?
We're running this through however long we want to go.
It's okay.
No rules.
We're just flying by the seat of our pants here, aren't we?
Well, you got a cucumber in one hand and doing a check down in the other.
What can I say? Call me the walking taco. All right, AP College Football Top 25 is out. Alabama, the number one team in the land, just ahead of Ohio State and Georgia. Those are the only three schools that have received number one votes. Clemson, Notre Dame ran out the top 5. Texas A&M, Utah, Michigan, Oklahoma, and Baylor round out the top 10. A couple of seemingly interlopers in terms of the rich tradition of other schools ranked in the preseason top 25. North Carolina State is 13th. Pittsburgh comes in at 17th. Kentucky at 20th and Ole Miss at 21st. Wake Forest 22nd. By the way, Purdue at 17th. That is the first time that they have received preseason votes for the top 25 in some, what'd you say, 15 years?
I saw 17.
17 years?
Crazy.
Easy to remember since they got 17 votes.
Major League Baseball yesterday, the Guardians and Tigers split a doubleheader. The Reds are absolutely horrible. They lose to the Phillies 4-3. Cubs also horrible. Lose to the Nationals 5-4. The Yankees are sliding. Big time. I don't know if it's panic time in the Bronx yet, but that is something to keep an eye on. The White Sox beat the Astros 4-2. It's kind of a busy Monday for Major League Baseball.
By the way, apparently bone is hard tissue. Is that right?
Isn't bone is hard?
I would think that's marrow. Marrow would be the tissue. Is bone tissue?
Colts practice at noon today at Grand Park. That is practice number 11. They have 16 total. Tomorrow the Lions will come to town for joint sessions Wednesday and Thursday. I don't think we've seen those sold out yet. I don't know. That's something to keep an eye on. We'll continue to monitor that and 3 practices next week, 14, 15, and 16, and that will conclude camp. Again, the first round of roster cuts, just 5 guys, but 90 to 85, that cut down is today.
It's got to be a nervous day for some guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, it's the back end of the back end. 90 to 85 this Tuesday, 85 to 80 next Tuesday, and then 80 to 53. But yeah, I think for the next few Tuesdays, if you're an undrafted free agent, you tell your family, do not call me at all. I will call you.
Fortunately, our next 2 guests were open to us calling them this morning and getting both of them on the program. There are a couple of guys that sat through some cut days when it came to the Colts, but they were never in jeopardy of that. Part of the dynamic offensive line that we came to know over the course of the glory years for Indianapolis, and now still in the area doing what they can to better the lives for young people. Joining us now on the Payless Liquor guest lines, Ryan Diem and Rick DeMulling. Guys, good morning to both of you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. What's happening?
Well, you tell me what's happening. Rick DeMulling, I will begin with you. As part of the, a lot of people may not realize what the NFL Alumni, Association, if you will, does. And one of the things that you guys do is still putting together, fundraisers and different events to help out the children of Indianapolis. That includes upcoming the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital at Ascension St. Vincent Caring for Kids Golf Classic. This is going to be upcoming on Monday. Tell me about how this all came together and if people can still get involved or what the ultimate goal here is in the fundraising.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate that segue. And so we've been in existence here in Indianapolis for a while now. Just obviously with COVID, we kind of put things on pause, and so we're trying to get this back and up and running. So what we're doing is having a golf outing at the Golf Club of Indiana on the northwest side of town, and we're supporting, like you said, Peyton Manning's hospital there. So our mission in general is to help support kids, help support our own, help support our community. So that's really what we are striving to do. And this aspect that we're doing on Monday is geared toward the kids, and that's where all the proceeds are going to be going. It's a great time. Participants come out, they get a foursome, they get paired up with a former player, and if they end up winning the whole tournament, they actually go to another tournament called the Super Bowl of Golf. We're having that in Palm Springs tournament against other winners from other tournaments from around the country. So it's a great time for a great cause, and amazing athletes like Ryan Diem will be in attendance. If you've never seen Ryan Diem strike a golf ball, it is something to behold. Let me tell you. I mean, when he connects, that thing doesn't ever come down.
Yeah, golf balls are scared when they see Ryan Diem come onto the driving range. I've been fortunate enough to play in this outing. It's awesome. I think you laid out a couple things there, Rick. First off, alumni, obviously the cause speaks for itself. Alumni player with every group, super cool. The trip to Palm Springs, and I don't know, maybe this is like the dad in me. I love the time of the shotgun. This is an earlier than usual shotgun, and so like if you've got a daycare duties, pickup or whatever, you're going to be home at a decent hour with I think it's a 10 a.m. shotgun, correct?
Yes, so that was definitely done by design because, there are a lot of them that start at noon and you come home at 7. And my wife's like, well, I bet you had a lot of fun, while she was with the kids. And I'm like, I had a little bit of pushback with the timing, but I'm like, no, let's do it here. Let's get it in. Let's have some fun and get people home at a reasonable hour.
Ryan Diem, here's what's interesting to me, and I want your perspective on this. Rick DeMulling and Ryan Diem join us here on the program. Ryan, you were a guy that, this is just an outside observation, but when you were playing, I remember you guys used to have the jar that you'd have to put money in as the offensive lineman if somebody was bringing, attention to themselves, that kind of thing. None of you guys ever sought attention. But you, Ryan...
Well, hang on. Jeff Saturday. Let's get that clear. Jeff Saturday definitely sought out attention.
That is true. He was a walking soundbite, man. Still is, obviously, right?
Say, yeah.
Parlayed that nicely. But, Ryan, you were a guy that just kind of went out, did your job. Both of you guys, actually, didn't necessarily seek that attention. However, when duty called, and I have noticed that when it came to the point of when duty called towards kids that were in need is when you were more than willing to put that money in the jar and say, you know what, I will take up this cause. For you, Ryan, was it becoming a father yourself? Was it seeing, back when you did a lot of things and first did it with children with glioblastoma and different things like that? How did it come to be that you decided that this was going to be in your post-playing career one of the real efforts that you pushed in on?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was something I got exposed to early on in my career when my wife and I were looking for a cause to get behind. It kind of found us, and but fortunately it wasn't directly within our family, but there was a family from our hometown that was going through some things with pediatric cancer, and they were doing a fundraiser to try to raise awareness and raise funds and help find a cure and everything. And I went to the first event, and I had my eyes opened, right? I had no idea. I was 23. I was a kid, right? I didn't know anything about it, but learned quickly that it was just such a severely underfunded cause, and just, how painful to watch a child struggle. So that's something we've been behind for, over 20 years now. And, we've raised some good funds through multiple different events, but I was really proud to see the NFL Alumni Association, their focus being children and community and each other, to use this event to benefit children, especially Peyton Manning Children's Hospital, which we also raise money for. So it was a no-brainer, and I've always loved supporting the Alumni Association, and they put together some really great events. This is a fun one. I've played in this outing many, many times. Great group of people, and obviously a great cause.
Ryan Diem, Rick DeMulling, former Colts offensive lineman, they are with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. If you guys don't mind, I guess we'll start with Rick, and then Ryan, you can follow. You guys mind sharing what currently you guys are up to professionally, what you guys like to do in your free time? I think anytime we have former Colts on, listeners are always curious to see what you're up to, because a couple of your former teammates are busy coaching up there at Grand Park right now.
Right. Yeah. No, it has been really cool to see guys back in town helping out with the team, with Cato and Reggie, and I know Robert Mathis has been involved. It's really neat to see them following their passion and doing that. I've done a lot of different things. I've kind of stuck my toe in the water with a few different types of investments, kind of across the board with some technology companies and some real estate companies. And currently, this one is not high tech, but we're cleaning garbage cans. A company called Bin Scrub. I launched it a couple of years ago, and we are out there running trucks around town day after garbage pickup day, literally sanitizing, deodorizing, and cleaning out people's garbage cans. And the feedback has been unbelievable. People love it. We're getting amazing reviews on Google, and I'm just really proud of my team that's out there working hard every day. And we're trying to grow this into a thing. A lot of people kind of do that. They say, and they tilt their head to the side, and then they go, yeah, I'd pay someone to do that, because it's the worst job in the world, right? So we have trucks that specialize and are specially built to do this. So it's a very eco-friendly process. We use a lot of hot water, and we collect all the waste that comes out of the cans to be disposed of properly. So people really love it. It's been catching on, and we hope to grow it across the entire central Indiana region.
And Rick?
Well, I just want to piggyback with what Ryan was saying. So his company is fantastic. We've actually been utilizing it, and our garbage cans are repulsive. And so, we had young kids, so there's poop in there and just the whole nastiness. And, I mean, when bin scrub is done, it literally looks like a brand new and smells brand new. So if y'all out there and are tired of cleaning nasty, repulsive bins, he's the guy to call. Me personally, so I own an insurance agency, DeMulling and Slama Insurance, and the Slama part is Brett Slama, and he kind of handles that, and that's self-sustaining. So I've kind of jumped into a different avenue of health coaching. Last year, I had to have 2 total knee replacements, and I was just probably at a low point in regards to my physical health and just gaining weight. And my wife was on a program, and I jumped on it and lost 40 pounds before my surgery and feel great now in that regard. So I'm going to follow my wife's lead and try to help people lose some weight and get healthy.
Rick, speaking of getting healthy, Rick DeMulling and Ryan Diem, by the way, are our guests, and we'll get you all the information again, folks, on their golf outing coming up on Monday. Kevin raised an interesting point, and Rick DeMulling, I'll throw it to you. The Colts are in a unique situation here because, fewer preseason games. They have 3 of them now. They're obviously going to have the joint scrimmage with the Lions, but there is some question as to how much they're going to see of the Lions starters. And then with Tampa for game 3, likely no Tom Brady. You got to wonder how much Tampa's putting out their starters. Does it hurt a team if they are not able to go against the number ones of another team in preseason, or is the bigger priority simply precision amongst one another and not necessarily worrying about who you're lining up against?
Absolutely. I think that is the case. I mean, you want to go against the best guy, but it's really getting the timing and the cadence of everything within your own group. You can only control that, right? I mean, you're not going to be able to control who you play against. And, I mean, Ryan can attest to this. It's hard to just jump in with somebody and start playing next to them, especially on the offensive line, trading off stunts and being able to communicate. So really just honing in and, like you said, being precision sharp on everything within your own group. Who you play against is really irrelevant, to be honest with you. I mean, you're going to have some guys that are just standout studs, but you can game plan that. So it's really just getting everything geared up within your own group.
Ryan Diem,
I would agree. I would agree. Reps and timing are everything, especially with the offensive line. You got to be in each other's heads. You got to know what that guy's thinking next to you without even communicating, and that only happens through reps. So I agree. Multiple reps are a good thing. Certainly competition changes the dynamic a little bit, but these guys are all in the NFL. They're all good players, especially when you get out in the preseason and you're playing against maybe not the starter. That guy's trying to make the team, so he's going hard. It's not the starter who's out there grumbling because he's in the game. It's the young guy who's trying to make the squad. So sometimes those guys can surprise you if you're at cruise control out there. You don't want to be doing that in the preseason.
Ryan Diem, Rick DeMulling, they're with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Last one for me, and certainly want to go over Monday's details again. The NFL game, I don't need to break news to any of you guys. It's certainly changed a lot since you two were playing. For offensive linemen specifically, where have you seen the game change the most from when you guys played to currently?
There's always patterns, and there's always kind of like the in-style thing. I think the in-style thing right now is kind of people are always looking for that next Quentin Nelson, the guy who's going to go out and be just an absolute mauler on every single play. He's pretty special in that regard. There aren't many Quentin Nelsons out there. A guy who can, get out, perform every time and recover and finish blocks, put guys on their back, embarrass them. He's pretty special. We're lucky to have a guy like that. But I would say generally just the athleticism across the board. I don't think I could compete at this level currently. Just the way guys move, the training they've been doing their entire lives. That stuff that was just catching on as we were, barely into high school, maybe into college. The kind of high level training that these guys have grown up with. So it's pretty impressive to watch the way these guys move.
Ryan,
I would totally echo that for sure in regards to like the year round, what they're doing. I remember going like, all right, where's the first Pizza Hut I can go to after the season? Now they're going to California and doing all these really specialized workouts. So, I would say that, and then definitely who they're going against has changed a little bit. They're not just big men like Marcus Stroud, who we used to go against. Now they're big and athletic. Look at DeForest Buckner. I would have to chop him every single play.
I want to know from you guys last, Ryan Diem, Rick DeMulling. And by the way, we're going to tweet out on the show Twitter account. We will retweet Ryan's information that has everything that you guys need for, you folks need for the golf outing and the fundraising if you want to make a donation to help out with the cause as well for the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital. For either one of you guys, real quick, I'd like to know from the locker room that you saw, the teammates that you had, that people around here know and love, which guy unquestionably would have the most filthy trash cans that Ryan's company needs to visit ASAP, because if their locker is any indication, they're the biggest slob known to man. Go.
That's a great one. Oh, man. I don't want to sell people out, but we're definitely slobs on the team. Man, Rick, you got any ideas?
Man, I don't want to put my own hand in the air, but that might have been me. I don't know. I'm going to go with Steve Shulo back in the day.
Sure. Oh, yeah. The guy that the guy that showed up for training camp as a rookie with a Pittsburgh Steelers license plate.
Yes, absolutely. He's just a great guy, but he exudes sloppiness.
Carrying Byron Leftwich across the field, but not cleaning his trash cans.
Yep.
All right.
Memory.
Rick DeMulling, Ryan Diem, guys, appreciate it. And on behalf of the kids that will be helped out by this, thank you for putting this together. Rick, especially for the NFL Alumni Association. And again, we'll get everybody the information they need if they want to partake. Mark, you just tweeted it out, right? On the Kevin and Query Twitter account. Guys, appreciate it. We look forward to talking to you again, all right?
Thanks, guys.
And Rick, the hair looks great.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Rick DeMulling, PAI, by the way, also with JMV.
Jake, I've been fortunate enough to play in this outing before. It's an awesome outing. The cause, again, it speaks for itself. Of course, it's an incredible cause, but so many great things within the outing itself, from experiences with every group gets an alumni player. It's a 10 o'clock shotgun. It's a lot of advantages when you have to go home. You're going to be home at a decent hour. Also saw here it's a $75 credit to a mobile pro shop. You get a breakfast, lunch. So lots of amenities that come with a spot in the group. Golf Club of Indiana, nice public golf course up in the Zionsville, Lebanon area. So awesome event, and fortunate to have Ryan and Rick on this morning. That's a nice little Bill Polian draft class right there, Jake. What, 4th rounder in Ryan Diem, 7th rounder in Rick DeMulling,
pretty solid, right?
Some guy named Reggie Wayne in round 1.
That's a solid class right there.
The GOAT, Joey
Good
Chestnut,
guys, too.
in less than 15 minutes. I am excited. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Oh, boy. What?
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. The year started off with super high rates, but for the last 6 weeks, mortgage interest rates have dropped. A lot of banks and lenders are still charging those high rates, but at thehomeloanexpert.com, our rates are over a quarter point lower than the national average. With lower rates and a 10-day closing guarantee, we can have you in the home of your dreams by the end of the month. Ready to get pre-approved? Visit thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
At Shane Company, we'll help you find the perfect engagement ring. Our jewelry consultants are experts and can teach you everything you need to know about creating a beautiful ring. When you're collaborating, there's no pressure. They don't work on commission, so they'll spend as much time with you as you need. Before you come in, you can play around with our online tool Budget Buddy, so you can see all the possibilities in your price range. When you're here, they'll show you so many gorgeous ring settings and all the options for the center stone. Go traditional with a beautiful diamond, or make it really unique with a colorful gemstone. At Chain Company, we have stunning red rubies and over a dozen colors of sapphires, including 3 shades of blue, from light blue to a more traditional darker blue. Or maybe you'd love an aquamarine or peach morganite. Whatever you choose, your ring will be one of a kind, an expression of your love. So come on into Shane Company and let's bring that dream ring to life.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Sip
and save at Circle K with our great new drink subscription. Join Sip and Save today and enjoy one drink a day every day for just $5.99 a month. Enjoy your favorite Circle K ice-cold fountain drink, Froster, or freshly ground coffee every day. That's 30 drinks a month for only $5.99. So sip and save at Circle K. Sign up in-store or at CircleK.com. Circle K. Take it easy.
Last year, the Westfield Shamrocks made it to Lucas Oil Stadium for the 6A championship, while New Pal lost in the 5A regional championship. The Shamrocks take a long drive to the east side to take on the New Pal Dragons. It's a clash under Friday night lights, presented by CarX. Don't worry, call the CarX team. Eddie Garrison has the kickoff Friday night at 7. Friday Night Football on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Thank you to Ryan Diem and Rick DeMulling, Northern Illinois and the University of Idaho, respectively. When I was a freshman at University of Kansas, that song that you just heard was the rage of my freshman year. Naughty by Nature and OPP. This is Kevin and Query. My name is Jay Query. Kevin Bowen here as well. Mark Dykton very silently just put on his headsets with that. Every once in a while you get this smirking grin on your face.
I think I have that smirking grin all the time.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know.
Are you?
I'm a happy guy.
Huh?
Happy guy.
Everybody feeling better in the Dykton household?
We're getting there. We're getting back to full strength.
Here, we anybody like a cucumber?
No, that will probably deter everything. Everybody's on a bland diet, basically.
What's more bland than a cucumber?
Toast.
Okay, well then put the cucumber on toast.
No, thank you. I don't know where that cucumber's been, if whatever JMV was doing with it yesterday, and now you've got it in your hands.
You don't eat the outside of it. I really want to snap this thing. It is time, by the way, for our Camp Champ of the Day, brought to you by Quack Daddy Donuts in Westfield, home of the best maple bacon donuts, just 3 miles south of Colts Camp. QuackDaddyDonuts.com. Maybe that's QuackDaddyDonuts.com.
Jake, off day yesterday, but I think our Camp Champ of the Day has got to go to the guy who is now off the physically unable to perform list. We've talked about him a good amount this morning. The second-year wideout out of Charleston. That would be the school in West Virginia, not the South Carolina city. That would be Mike Strachan, eligible to practice today. We've not seen him on the practice field. Boy, now that I think about it, it might have been May. You've got to go back to the last time he practiced. Had off-season knee surgery. And of all the guys in that wideout room, that's the one that I feel like this coaching staff would have told you entering camp, he's got to earn our trust. There are guys that have to earn trust to varying degrees. I would say Strachan is the guy that had the most trust to earn. So his injury was really a big deal because he's missed 10 practices, the first preseason game. So obviously what you want to see is how quickly he can get to full speed in practice. Can he help you out on special teams? And the big element with the wideouts right now that Frank Reich has pointed out is the Colts just don't beat press coverage at a very high level. And that is something with Strachan's size at 6'5" and over 220 pounds. Can he show that? Can he do it consistently? Can he learn the entire playbook? And can Matt Ryan trust him?
They seem to have been really patient with him. Like he seems to, you know what I mean? Like,
as they should be. I mean, he was a 6th-round pick last year from a Division II school that didn't play their final year of college football because of COVID.
And I thought, but I really did think that last year, I guess, how long do you get, if you're a 6th-round pick from a small school that didn't play your last year because of COVID, how many seasons do you get before they say, okay, like, we're not going to see any more than what we need to see? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think if you're going to make a draft pick commitment to a player from that school and know that there is some grooming that needs to be done, you have to wait, I would say, at least 2 years. Now, again, one of those years, Jake, and maybe it's this year, could be on the practice squad. There's no guarantee Mike Strachan makes his 53-man roster. Roster cuts are 2 weeks from today. If I'm making a wideout depth chart, the top 4 are obvious in some order. Michael Pittman, of course, 1. Campbell, Alec Pierce, 2 and 3. Ashton Doolin be 4. 5 and 6 is where it gets murky. Do you keep 6? If you're keeping 4 tight ends, do you have room for 6 wideouts? What about Kiki Coutie's groin injury from the preseason opener? What about Desmond Patman? So, that's something where Strachan, like last year, he was a healthy scratch, still on that 53-man roster. This year, he could be slotted more in that practice.
I think of Kiki Coutie as a legit NFL wide receiver, but is that only because when he was in Houston, the only time I saw him was when he played against the Colts?
No, I think he is legit, Jake. The question is health. He's the Paris Campbell of the Texans.
Gotcha.
Honestly, he's probably produced more in NFL games than Campbell has. So Mike Strachan, that is our camp champ of the day, brought to you again by Quack Daddy Donuts. Should we just house like 13 Quack Daddy Donuts to get ready for our next guest?
That's right.
Now, have you ever been in any sort of eating contest?
Yes, I was in
backed out of the one.
We know you faked COVID in December last year to get out of the shrimp eating contest.
I was at my old job. I was in a shrimp cocktail eating contest with Derek and Joey Chestnut.
Boy, that's like me and Mark teeing it up with Tiger Woods.
Yeah, I mean, well, Joey was just doing a warm-up. It was basically me versus Derek.
A warm-up.
This from Colts Are Fine on Twitter. Again, 0 followers, following 9. Loves the Colts Pacers in Houston. He joined Twitter in August of 2022. I know it's probably that's right. He tweeted to both of us. I know it's probably a joke to you guys when people tweet stuff, but my boss won't let us play the station anymore because it's the same theme every day. Colts are doomed.
Joey Chestnut's on the phone line, so we'll be back with him next. Kevin and Query, I cannot bleeping wait.
Baseball is here, and so is the BetRivers.com sportsbook app, featuring same-game parlays where you can combine the excitement of different bets, all from the same game. Bet the total, spreads, player props, and more. Plus, with award-winning customer service, BetRivers.com sportsbook app, here comes a baseball joke, is a home run. Download the BetRivers.com sportsbook app today. It's a whole new game.
Must be 21. Must be located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
The Jim Irsay Collection is coming to downtown Indianapolis September 9th, and it's free. Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay has what's been described as the world's greatest collection of rock guitars, musical instruments, and historical sports and pop culture memorabilia. The collection is highlighted by instruments and items from some of the greatest artists in music history. This free event is from 7 to 10 p.m. at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis and will feature a performance by the Jim Irsay Band with special guest Ann Wilson of Heart. For all the details and to register for your free ticket, head to JimIrsayCollection.com.
Alice in Chains and Breaking Benjamin. Live in concert this summer with Bush, plus special guests. Tomorrow night at Ruoff Music Center. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Get up and get outside this summer with Alice in Chains and Breaking Benjamin.
My name is Megan Davis, and I am the Director of Training and Communications here at the Humane Society for Hamilton County. We nominated Trudy because she truly embodies our mission and message of whatever it takes.
And I'm Jiffy Lube owner Steve Sanner. At Jiffy Lube, we are proud to support Hoosier charities that use their vehicles to do more to make Indiana a better place to live.
I think what the most important thing to me is when we get dogs in that are so scared, I just love to take these dogs under my wing. I need my vehicle to be in top shape because I'm driving here 6 days a week.
Jiffy Lube of Indiana provides all of our Do More winners with free vehicle maintenance for a year. Because now at Jiffy Lube, our trained technicians do more to keep vehicles like theirs and yours on the road. Brakes, tires, batteries, and more, as well as Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
If you know a volunteer who impacts your community, nominate them today to receive a year's worth of free vehicle maintenance. Just click the Do More tab at JiffyLubeIndiana.com.
The Red Sox and Orioles play in Williamsport on Sunday Night Baseball. The coverage begins at 6 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Jake, I'm excited. One of my heroes is about to join us.
I've never seen you like this.
Notre Dame, Tiger Woods, walking tacos.
By the way, we called them tacos I think Tacos in a Sack is what it was called when I was.
Should we ask our next guest?
Yeah, I'm sure he knows what it is, right?
He's the GOAT. He's on the Mount Rushmore of sports in some way, shape, or form, no order. Serena, Usain Bolt, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Joey Chestnut. That would be some, I don't know, maybe the Mount Rushmore's growing now that I say that out loud. Joey Chestnut, who will be at Victory Field each of the next Tuesdays. We'll explain why with him right now. He is on the Payless Liquors hotline. Joey, good morning. Do you know what a walking taco is?
Oh, yeah. It's the Doritos. You go to open the bag of Doritos or Fritos and at the 7-Eleven, put in the chili and cheese, and right?
Yeah, I think
that
we called
heaven.
I think we called it tacos in a bag or tacos in a sack is what I think.
Love that
in
he said
1984.
Doritos. See, I would always go nacho cheese Doritos and ask if they could keep the Fritos back there.
Ooh, Fritos are strong, man.
Fritos, I think, is
chili cheese flavored Fritos are the greatest thing ever.
Generic.
Joey, you're going to be eating, my understanding is, and you tell me if I've got this incorrectly, over the next 2 weeks, you're going to be eating 75 pounds of popcorn. Is that right?
It's up there. It's going to be it's going to be a lot of volume of popcorn. I'll be burping. I'll be pulling kernels out of my teeth for days.
That's okay. So tell me what exactly is taking place here in terms of the record that you plan to set, and in terms of dishes, for lack of a better phrase, or food items. This would be, if you get this record, it would be how many different food items in which you have set a record?
Oh, if I can pull this one off, it'll be 55 or 56. I got to double check, but I'm trying to break the popcorn record. There's an 8-minute record right now, and it's the record is 28.5 24-ounce servings. So it's gonna be, I'll have to hustle. I mean, for 8 minutes, whatever I'm feeling, I got to ignore it and just have fun and eat some popcorn.
Okay, Joey. Can you walk us through, I guess with the popcorn one being the one that's up next, can you walk us through your exact preparation for next Tuesday night to do this in 8 minutes?
Oh, yeah. So I've already done one practice. Tonight I'm actually going to do a 1-minute practice in between innings at the Indianapolis Indians game.
Can you define practice for it? Like, what does that entail? Like, are you suicide? Like, what are we doing here?
Oh, no suicide. It's going to be intense eating for 1 minute, and the crowd will be yelling at me. And I think I'm going to actually eat popcorn twice in between innings. And then on Friday I'm going to do another really big practice, and then so that'll be a full practice plus a little bit more. And then I want to break the record in practice. And then come Tuesday next week, I'm going to go in empty, loose, hungry, and I'm going to dominate.
So
empty,
hold on.
Loose, hungry. I need that kind of branded.
Now, Joey, you said 28 and a half orders of 24-ounce popcorn?
Yeah.
So my math tells me that that's 42.75 pounds of popcorn. Is that right? Am I way off here?
All right. So, yeah, it's a little bit misleading. So we're going by volume, not by the actual weight.
Okay.
So the cups, they hold a volume of 24 ounces.
Gotcha. I got you. Okay.
So it's actually way less weight, but it's a lot of volume. And while I'm eating it, it's that air in the popcorn, it comes out. So I'll be fighting burps during the event, and I'll be burping and trying not to lose anything.
He is Joey Chestnut, and he's with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Joey, when I think of kind of iconic moments in sports history, the MJ shot on Elo comes to mind. Tiger Woods chipping at Augusta National, and I guess I would throw in there your choke slam and the Nathan's hot dog eating contest back on July 4th.
Already laughing.
Just walk us through everything that transpired from your concentration, which is unlike any other in that moment, to realizing what was going on, and then your karate black belt-like instincts to take down said protester.
Oh, my God, yeah. I was eating, doing everything right, and I was just minding my own business, focused on the hot dogs, and the guy bumps into me. And I thought it was one of the guys who were delivering the hot dogs. And I was like, whoa, he really bumped in hard. And then the guy got in my way, kind of. And I was like, oh. And then I realized it was a protester, so I don't even know. I just reacted quick. I grabbed him by the neck, and somebody else grabbed him by the feet, and he like pretty much disappeared. It was real fast.
I think you made him disappear.
I grabbed him, and then I got back to eating. I was like a dog with food aggression. I just had to get him out of the way and get back to eating.
Now, and you have done...
Oh, I can see it in my eyes.
How many Nathan's hot dog eating contests have you done, Joey Chestnut?
That was number 18.
So clearly I'm assuming that was the most bizarre thing that's happened to you in the 18, right? Although, was it during the contest or before it or something one year when Kobayashi protested and threw a tantrum?
Yeah, that was after the contest one year. And I could see him in the audience. That was a weird year also. Before this year, that was the weirdest year. But this year was the craziest event so far.
Do we know where he is these days?
He's in Japan. Yeah, he's he blocked me on Instagram, so my fiance I have to follow. My fiance follows him so I can see what he's up to.
Is he eating? Is there a potential for?
I don't know what he's doing. He does a couple events here and there, but he's not eating very much. He's eating like a child, from what I can see.
Now
eating like a child. Noted.
Wow.
Noted. I just hope Rosie does that tonight.
I'm curious, Joey, since you said fiance, I assume, and congratulations, that means you're getting married. Do you have to order 17 wedding cakes?
We haven't gotten that far yet in planning, but we're definitely getting married. Hopefully in February. We'll leave. We'll go somewhere warm during the winter.
Guns N' Roses going to play at the reception?
No, but dude, they're playing in Bangkok. If my leg is feeling better, I'm going there in November.
Yeah, now we did a shrimp eating contest, Mark, and by the way, Joey Chestnut, the GOAT, he is with us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Mark, our producer, myself, Kevin, we did a shrimp eating contest back in, what was that, just after New Year's?
December, yeah.
Yeah, right around Colts season. It was before a Colts game. Jake faked COVID, so he did not take part in the shrimp eating contest. I believe you were supposed to be there, but you suffered an injury. Is that correct?
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's been a nightmare injury. I broke my leg back in December. And then it was really bad, open fracture. And then in March, I was in the dark. I was visiting a friend in California, and his dog got out, and so we were walking along this mountain road, and I kind of just didn't realize how steep the embankment was off the edge of it, and I fell down this hill. And firefighters had to carry 5 firefighters had to carry my fat butt up the hill, and it was a nightmare. Yeah, and so the bone was sticking out, and and then months later I had an infection. I had to get all the hardware taken out, and so the bone is finally starting to heal right now, and I can finally start to really walk. But it's been a long year.
Wow.
And does this impact your eating?
Oh, I mean. It's kind of weird. Like I can still eat like a madman for 4 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes. But the 7, 8, 9, 10, that's where it's impacting because I get a little bit winded. I haven't been able to do as much cardio as I have in the past. And then when I get winded, it's just purely because of my cardio. So this is going to be a really good record for me to break coming up.
Which food, Joey, I would imagine popcorn has got to be a challenge because, I don't know how much, in that amount of time, it's going to be hard to chew it probably. So what food, when it comes to the mass quantity of your eating, I mean, kidding aside, what food is kind of the most natural, I guess, to be able to take in mass quantity in a short amount of time, and which one presents the biggest challenge?
I think unnatural is like chicken wings. Chicken wings are super easy. It's a technique food, and it's just once you have the technique down, they're fast, they're easy, they keep tasting good. Hot dogs are a little bit hard because we have to dunk the bun in water. It took a lot of building a tolerance for eating wet buns, which is not natural. And popcorn will be. It won't be that hard. It'll be hard to eat it fast. And naturally, you don't eat popcorn fast. It goes against the way you eat popcorn. Popcorn is relaxing. You're sitting down, calm. So I'm having to retrain myself how to eat popcorn a little bit.
He is someone I'll tell my grandkids about one day. He is Joey Chestnut here on the Payless Liquors Hotline at Victory Field tonight for a little practice in between innings, and then next Tuesday night trying to set the world record for popcorn. He will do that also at Victory Field. And by the way, if you're in attendance, you can get a chance to get the Coney sauce, I believe, tonight from Joey, and he'll be passing those out next week as well. Joey, this might be too personal, so I apologize for asking it. Do you go to the bathroom a lot?
Dude, yeah, it's good things happen.
Okay.
I dropped some bombs.
Yeah, okay.
But after a contest, there's it's a one-way road usually, and there's like 4-hour break in between. I take a nap, and then I wake up with a look in my eye.
Well, let me tell you something.
I appreciate that candor. And I asked this because Joey, if I'm not mistaken, you are now a resident of Westfield, Indiana. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, and loving it.
Well, I just, our Hamilton County listeners out there, if there are some sewage issues, I just want to make sure that we know where the Chestnut residence is. And in all seriousness, Joey,
okay, the show's been hijacked. Mark, you want to go down and get some donuts?
I'm updating my LinkedIn as we speak.
Why did you decide to move to Westfield?
A bunch of little reasons. I like the area. I have some friends here, so I got to know the area, and it's just I enjoy it. I was ready for a little bit of change, and I'm really happy I took a chance.
You grew up, Joey Chestnut, you're a Bay Area sports fan, so you were, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, Warriors, A's, and Raiders, were those your teams growing up?
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay. I never got into basketball. Warriors were terrible, and I refused to jump on the bandwagon with everybody else.
Okay, so
I'm A's and Raiders.
Since moving here, has there been have either of those two teams, I'm not going to say, look, your first love's your first love, but of the teams here, which have you started to really follow and start to enjoy?
Oh, the Colts. I've been enjoying the Colts. I've been to a Reds game, but I'm still an A's fan. I'm actually hoping the A's move to Vegas because then it'll be easy to go to games, and it'll be a good fundraising to go out there. But I really enjoy the Colts games. The fan base, the people. Everything. Even the owner, Irsay, he seems like a really good dude, and I think I'll be a Colts fan.
I feel like aren't you a big Notre Dame fan, or am I imagining things?
I went to a Notre Dame game last year. I'm not a big Notre Dame fan, but I enjoyed it. I enjoy college football. I love college football.
Joey needs to come with me to a Clemson game. You want to go to a Clemson game, Joey?
Dude, go to Death Valley. Yeah, I've been wanting to go to a game there.
I'll have to road trip down for a Clemson game, but only one hot dog, though.
Can you imagine the concession stands? They see Joey Chestnut in the building. All right, last one for me, Joey. I want you to dispel a myth, or I don't know, maybe back it up. I was in a pizza eating contest in high school, and I don't know if you coined this, or maybe I could be way off, but I was told that for like an eating contest, so 24 hours before said contest, you eat a similar portion to what you plan on eating in the contest. And then the only thing you eat from the 24 hours out until the contest is grapes, because grapes expand or keep your stomach expanded. I did not win the contest. I got second, and I still think about it to this day. Was that horrific planning on my part, or was I reading something that is actually correct?
You're kind of right, kind of wrong. I didn't come up with that method. Okay. Actually, one of my friends, Eater X, he came up with the great method. And his fasting, it's just I'm not a fan of that method. I believe in building a tolerance, so I would have started out like 6 days and do one little practice, then 2 days later do another practice, and then 2 days later, like, all right, it's go time. It slowly make your body more and more comfortable with the food. Don't and you have to slowly eat with more and more urgency, because you can't. It's really hard to compress what you eat in 24 hours into that 1 hour. You have to. There has to be another step in between that.
Okay, writing down these notes. Do grapes expand your stomach, or is that a myth?
No, that's water. There are a lot of fiber though. So if you eat a lot of grapes, it'll help move everything that's in your intestines out. It will give you a clean road.
Clean road. I had written down a few minutes ago that the most uncomfortable phrase ever uttered on this show since I started was, quote, "It takes a lot of practice to eat wet buns," end quote. And then that was usurped about 30 seconds later with, quote, "I dropped some bombs," end quote.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
That's what the kids say, right?
Okay. Well, Joey, when we go to Clemson together, it's going to be minimal eating for the minimal bombs, all right, on the way there and on the way back.
I can't. I'll be in the back seat. I can't wait.
We'll be using different bathrooms, probably.
That's right.
But Joey, there's a lot of barbecue down there. Oh, it'll be sweet.
Oh, yeah. Tailgating's awesome. All right, so you are at Victory Field tonight, right?
I'll be at Victory Field early tonight. I get there pretty much when gates open. I'll do a meet and greet, and then during a couple, in between a couple innings, I'll be doing some eating, and it'll be fun.
And then next Tuesday as well, that is the Popcorn World Contest you will attempt, and that is before first pitch, right? Like 6:30, 6:40?
Yeah, I want to say 6:40, 6:45, and I'll be going all out on that.
He's the GOAT. He's Joey Chestnut, and he's with us here. He's also a resident of Westfield now. Joey, thanks for calling Indy home, and as always, really appreciate the time, and good luck to your bowel movements.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Joey Chestnut, right there on the Payless Liquor hotline. Whoa. The GOAT. Right there. Serena, Usain, MJ, Tiger, Chestnut.
Please let that be the last guest you ask about bowel movements for today.
Joey Jaws, isn't that his nickname?
That's his Twitter handle, yeah.
Mark, do you have shows prepared next week for when it's the two of us?
I don't know if it's going to be next week. It might be tomorrow.
You know what? I mean, if we want to stir up some drama, Mark, you teased the podcast with that Kobayashi quote.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'll tell you what, I believe it was Kobayashi eats like a child.
My fiance follows him on Instagram because he blocked me.
I mean, you talk about great rivalries in sports. Hello. I mean, this is massive. Thank you to Joey Chestnut for that. Robert May is from The Athletic. We'll get back on topic.
Put on your helmet. It's about to get real.
Brian Kelly joins us. Is there a difference this year in this Colts outfit?
I think we've got a lot of new pieces in the puzzle. Really good veterans that we signed and free agents. Rookies, you have to have rookies to win this league, and we've certainly got a lot of them that are quality players. It's just a different presence right now. Can't really say what it is or why it is. I think maybe it's just the urgency to win now. I think you look at a lot of guys, we're all kind of in our prime. Make or break time. We got to go.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Our average client received over $54,000 with a simple cash-out refinance. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
NMLS number 1326-241.
At Diamonds Direct, you know what we do. But let's be honest, there are a lot of places you can buy diamonds and fine jewelry. But it's not just our products and prices that set us apart. It's our passion. At the very core of Diamonds Direct is an overwhelming desire to make this moment in your life truly magical. It's that father with the tears in his eyes picking out diamond earrings for his daughter's sweet 16. It's that pure delight when the young couple finds the perfect ring to start their journey. And it's the feeling of pride the older gentleman feels when he chooses that anniversary band that celebrates a lifetime of love. At Diamonds Direct, it's not about a transaction, it's about a relationship. It's not about making a sale, it's about creating a memory. It's not about the ring, it's about his pride and her joy. This is our purpose, our cause, our mission, our very essence, to help you create your special moment, to be a part of the happiest time in your life. We are humbled and blessed, honored and privileged to have the opportunity. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis. New Palestine hosts Westfield on Friday Night Football. The action begins at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Dude.
Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Thank you to Kelly for this. I didn't think the bathroom question was weird at all. I was honestly wondering that too. Jake, you got to ask, curious people are interested in curious things. And when Joey Chestnut's on, we're going to ask him about a little bit of everything.
Okay. Well, I'll give him credit for being open about answering it.
He was. Someone else tweeted or texted me and said, clean the road. Sounds like a team motto. Was that Chuck Pagano's motto, like in the 5th year?
Chuck had a lot of those.
He did.
It was great when Chuck Pagano knew he was done. He's just like, come out with as many quirky things as possible.
Chuck is a good dude. All right, let's head to our next guest on the Payless Liquors Hotline, currently en route to Pittsburgh Steelers training camp, and he will call Grand Park home on Thursday for the second day between the Colts and the Lions joint sessions from the Athletic Football Show podcast. The great Robert Mays joins us now. Good morning, Robert.
Morning, guys. How are you doing?
We're doing wonderful. I wanted to begin here. Obviously, we'll talk a lot of training camp and just stuff around the NFL, Colts related, but I know you were, I believe, a big part of the Luck podcast idea that Zach Kiefer and your colleagues executed extremely well. We had Zach in studio a few weeks ago to talk about the podcast and everything that went into that. Why did that idea kind of spark in your mind as something to do, especially during the offseason?
I want to give Zach 99.5% of the credit for that. I gave them the platform to use our feed, and that was really it. I mean, that was Zach and Mike Smeltz, who oversees narrative podcasting at The Athletic. And I think it all depends on the host and the person that's telling the story combined with the subject. And we talked about Luck as a person to focus on as part of a series like that, but it's a much different experience with Zach doing it, just because Zach is the person to tell that story. So I was very happy to kind of hand over our podcast feed for a week, because when you talk about subject and narrator, it's hard to fit two pieces better than those two pieces fit for us.
Robert, in terms of, the thing that made, I think, the Andrew Luck podcast captivating and compelling for people was it just was this huge question that was left out there. Just what happened? What happened with this player? What happened? What has happened since? There were so many questions out there. So I will use that to parlay to ask you this. In the 2022 NFL season, right now in the league itself, the biggest question mark league-wide in terms of a storyline would be what?
Oh, man. I think it would probably, the one I come back to is, what do the kind of the shifting circumstances with some of the league's best quarterbacks ultimately look like? The Bills are the betting favorite to win the Super Bowl. They have a new offensive coordinator and some shifting pieces on their offensive staff. The Chiefs obviously are going through a facelift when it comes to their offensive personnel. Devontae Adams isn't in Green Bay anymore. So how do those three guys, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, ultimately deal with those changing, kind of shifting elements of their offenses? And are they still teams that we think are Super Bowl favorites, or teams that we think can win a championship? That's what I would land on first, but God, there are plenty that we could go with.
Formerly of Grantland and The Ringer, he's the great Robert Mays over at The Athletic. That's at Robert Mays on Twitter. He's with us here. Robert, you are off to Pittsburgh right now. I would slot this team into this group. I don't recall the AFC having this much depth. I mean, you talk about the entire conference. I can legitimately make strong cases for, I think, 13 teams to make the postseason. Obviously, only 7 do. Houston, Jacksonville, and I guess the Jets, I'd probably not be able to make strong cases for. Do you recall seeing any conference have this much depth, and do you think the AFC has as much depth as I believe it does?
Probably. I mean, the division I go back to is the AFC West. I think Derek Carr is a pretty decent quarterback, and I think that the Raiders have some pretty solid players. The Raiders could easily finish 4th in their own division, and the Broncos could easily finish 4th in their own division. And that says a lot about where this group is. Cleveland could finish 3rd in their division, even if Deshaun Watson were to play a bunch. I think the Browns are really good, top to bottom, with their roster talent. And there are a lot of teams where you're looking at their starting 22 or even the 2 deep, and there aren't 3 or 4 holes on the entire roster, and they could miss the playoffs. So I think that's more than a fair characterization.
When you look, Robert, at this year's league, there's always a team that kind of seemingly comes out of nowhere. Maybe the schedule is set up for them that way. Maybe they just get a few breaks, or maybe they were young and people slept on them, and now it's all coming together for them because they're healthy. But at any rate, the team that this year could kind of be the one that, in early December, people are going, I think they might be good. That's question one. And then the other one is the team that people are all in on that is most likely to set up and fall short.
The team that I don't know if they're good, it's just harder for me to find that team. I guess when you look back on it, the Bengals made such sense because you had Joe Burrow going into year 2. He was a highly drafted quarterback. You dropped Jamar Chase into that situation. It's harder for me to pin down that team this year. I don't think they're going to be good. I think the Jaguars' offense and just that team in general has a chance to be more interesting and less of a disaster than we might think, just because I think Trevor Lawrence is going to take a step forward. So I don't know if the Jags are going to be good because their defense is just full kind of B-minus players to me. But I think by the end of the season, we could be looking at Trevor Lawrence being like, I think Trevor Lawrence is pretty good. So that would be the one I would land on there. The team that we're kind of all in on, I don't know if we're all in on them just because, again, the division is so good. I think it could take the Broncos a little bit longer for everything to gel just because of how specific of a player Russell Wilson is and fitting him into their offensive system. I have a lot of faith in what that's going to look like in the long term in terms of how relevant and competitive they're going to be. But if they don't hit the ground running on offense, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised.
He's Robert Mays, again, of The Athletic, and he's with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Robert, you were a huge fan of Phillip Rivers, and obviously he had his one season here in Indianapolis. I think a lot of people have made the comparison with Matt Ryan now, in that things will look pretty similar. Now, to be fair, Phillip Rivers did not have Jonathan Taylor rushing for 1,800 yards. Taylor was great late in that rookie season, but not at the level he is now a couple years later. How similar should Colts fans' expectations be with Matt Ryan as to what we saw with Phillip Rivers in that COVID season?
I think that's exactly right. And talking about Jonathan Taylor being there, and the other guy is Michael Pittman. I mean, think about what Michael Pittman was late in that season. You had some flashes, and I was excited about the player that he was by the end of his rookie year, but I think he's elevated his game. I think he is a true kind of number one receiver adjacent in the league right now. So you think about those two guys just stepping into a different version of themselves, different stage of their careers. I think that's really important. And, if their receiving core can stay healthy, I mean, I understand we do this every year with Paris Campbell, but if they can just have a little bit more juice in some of those spots, and Matt Ryan doesn't have to be a superhero because of the supporting cast, what could they look like? And I just have so much faith in Frank Reich and what the offensive system and structure has been over the last few years. I mean, this is a team that was a borderline top 10 offense last year with Carson Wentz. And I just feel like there's so much more stability and reliability with a guy like Matt Ryan that if they can stay healthy and the skill position players complement one another, could this be another borderline top 10 offense again? And in a pretty watered-down division, what could that mean for them?
Is it fair to say, and I think someone's mentioned this to me on your latest pod, that you might not be as high on Gus Bradley's scheme as maybe some other people are?
I just look around the league, and I look at – so if you look at the way that offenses have been built around the NFL for the last 3 or 4 years and the system that's overtaken the league, and it's that McVay-Shanahan idea, and if you were to ask those guys in that tree, what is the baseline of what you believe and why you think this works? It's making things look the same than having them unfold differently. I have a run, I have a play action, I have a screen off of everything. And it's really, really difficult to understand exactly what you're getting based on how the first two steps of a play look. If you look at the way that defenses are moving around the league now, it's a similar idea with that Fangio-Staley kind of system of we're going to start in the same shell on almost every single play, and then the defense is going to unfold a little bit differently. It's just creating some uncertainty with what you're getting. And that's not exactly what Gus Bradley does. There's a little bit more rigidity, and there's a little bit more of having the answers to the test before the play even starts. And I just think offenses are so good that if you're going to play that way and not have as much flexibility and some murkier picture built into the way you play defense, you're making it easier on these quarterbacks who are too good if you're giving them that sort of information. And, I think that Dan Quinn was in a similar boat with the system that he brought with him to Atlanta. Obviously, those come from the same place. And I talked to Dan a couple of weeks ago, and he had a nice little kind of flourish of self-awareness where he was just saying, when I got fired 4 weeks into the season in Atlanta, I went back and I was like, what do I need to change? What do I need to tweak? What do I need to do differently? Because this just isn't working. And I want to see Gus Bradley go through a similar thing. Because if you look at even what they were with the Raiders last year and then the last couple of years with the Chargers, you kind of know what you're getting with the Gus Bradley defense. And I think the floor of that defense is high. I think he knows where the weaknesses of it are. And you're going to get a team that can be pretty good, but I just swinging a little bit harder for the fences with what you're doing defensively, I think is just necessary because of how good offenses are right now.
Our guest is Robert Mays. You can find him on Twitter at Robert Mays. That's with no E. Robert, M-A-Y-S. He is with The Athletic. That's his Twitter account, by the way, at Robert Mays. He is with The Athletic, where he is not only a football writer, but also does their podcast. Robert, in terms of Indianapolis and the Colts, we here have been really critical. We have really been probably almost obsessed with their lack of building playmakers at the receiver position. In 2022, in your opinion, can an NFL team, no matter how good the rest of the roster is, make a deep NFL run with Michael Pittman as their dynamic player who is not necessarily a playmaker, and then an Alec Pierce or Paris Campbell as their second receiver on the field?
Yes. I truly believe that. And I've been critical of Chris Ballard's view on the position as well. And I think that, Chris in his bones believes that we overstate kind of how important going to get that high-level, high-resource receiver is. But as I kind of sat back and thought more about it, you look at some of the underlying numbers of who Michael Pittman is as a pass catcher, and then you think about the way those pieces fit together and what you can get from a Kylan Granson and what Nyheim Hines is for them. I do think that skill position group is good enough for that team to be competitive because, in my opinion, the pieces fit together. But Pittman is a real varied receiver. He's such a big body that I think he gets miscast as this ball winner outside the numbers player. He can do a little bit of everything, and I feel like adding Alec Pierce as that true ball-winning vertical presence allows Michael Pittman to be kind of a truer version of himself. And if you can have Paris Campbell in the slot and you can have Nyheim Hines doing what he does, I think there's enough flexibility and enough juice in that group if they stay healthy for them to be enough. So I think that's always the caveat with them is from day one, we haven't had Paris Campbell in week one, and that kind of sends things astray. But that group as it's currently constructed, I think, is more than good enough with what they have up front and with the running game for this to be a really good offense.
Robert, last one from me. Our producer, Mark Dykton, is a diehard Bears fan. I know you have some ties, certainly, to that organization as well. Matt Eberflus, your level of optimism. Obviously here under Frank Reich for nearly a handful of seasons. Your thoughts on him as the new head coach of Chicago?
I mean, everything I've heard about him is really good. I think that getting buy-in from your team is really the biggest thing you have to do as a head coach. And everything I've heard about him is that that's what he can do. He really does create that. He creates a sense of ownership among his players. And I think this is all going to come back to them setting the quarterback up to succeed with the offensive coordinator that they chose. And we'll see how that works. But I think the early returns on just what he can do for the personality of a team and a roster, I do feel confident about that.
Robert, will you get a chance? You are on your way to Steelers training camp. That's Latrobe still, right?
It is, yep.
Will you get to go to the Rolling Rock? Do they have like a bottling plant there, or can you go and like get a Rolling Rock fresh as they make them?
I certainly could if I had the time. I will be leaving Steelers camp and immediately getting in the car to head to Columbus, Ohio tonight. So there's not a lot of, on several of these stops, not a lot of idle time for me, unfortunately.
From one professional football team to another, right?
That's just kind of how it goes this time of year. It's fun, but there are a lot of days where I have no idea what day of the week it is. I have no idea what state I'm in. That's currently where I am. I could be in Maryland. I could be in Pennsylvania. I truly do not know right now. And that's kind of how it goes in mid-August.
It's Tuesday morning, and we appreciate you spending part of it with us this morning. Enjoy Steelers training camp and travel safe to Columbus, all right?
We'll see you Thursday.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Robert Mays on the Payless Stickers guest line. Do you know what separates Maryland and Pennsylvania?
By the way, Rolling Rock in a bottle, so much better than Rolling Rock in a can.
Do you know that Rolling Rock in Canada is like, you go into any bar in Canada and Rolling Rock is like their big import. Like that's like
really?
It's like a big deal there. Like every bar in Toronto has Rolling Rock on draft.
There you
Do you
go.
know
That and ketchup chips?
Oh, they're wonderful. Do you know what separates Maryland from Pennsylvania?
I'm afraid to ask.
No, I mean I'm being serious. Historically speaking, it is a well-known
It's going to be
barrier.
Some mediocre joke.
No, I'm being totally serious. Most people would think this is a trivia question. I think you would stump most Americans on.
Probably the groundhog that died that Mark keeps
what was
on
his
bringing
name?
up.
Oh, what was his name?
Milltown
Mel.
Yeah,
He's in a wood chipper somewhere.
In a what?
He's in a wood chipper somewhere. You ever seen Fargo?
Come on, man.
What?
Wait, is that the Williamsport nickname? No, it's a crosscutter.
Crosscutters, yeah.
The Pennsylvania and Maryland are separated by the Mason-Dixon line. And I think most people, when they think of the Mason-Dixon line, would say like Kentucky and Georgia or Georgia and Tennessee, but it's Maryland and Pennsylvania. See, you guys thought I was being funny. It was just a historical thing.
Educate and entertain.
Robert Mays, much more optimistic on the wide receiver core, but was very skeptical of Gus Bradley's scheme.
I noticed that.
A little bit of a differing opinion than I think a lot of people have had this offseason. I do think, for what it's worth with Bradley, there are some tweaks, there are some changes, but you oftentimes hear the word simple to describe his scheme, which I felt like was kind of a knock on the Eberflus era. So I think curious to see how that evolves. All right, again, Pop Quiz is going to be pushed to 9:45. If you want to be in our fantasy football league, give us a call for the Pop Quiz. That would be 317-239-1070. We're going to shoot for that around 9:45. Coming up next is going to be the manager of the Hagerstown Purple Tigers, Purple Cubs. I'm not exactly. They were in purple in the Great Lakes region. Tigers, I believe, is their high school nickname. They are in Williamsport for their first game, 3 o'clock. I believe they're guaranteed 3 games in Williamsport. They've expanded the Little League World Series to 20 teams, 10 international, 10 from the U.S. The manager, Patrick Vinson, is going to join us at 9:30. A little bit of an early trivia question. How many major leaguers have ever participated in the Little League World Series?
I'm going to guess. Can I guess on this? Lloyd McClendon comes to mind. Obviously, Drew Storen, Lance Lynn. Participated in the finals or just gone to Williamsport?
Gone to Williamsport.
Oh, man.
Todd Frazier, I remember the Toms River team.
Obviously, Chris Drury played in the NHL.
The Toms River coach would always want them to lead off because Todd Frazier and some other kid, as a 2-hitter, would just get on, and they'd always have a 1-0 lead. They'd always play with at least a lead.
I'll say 137.
64. 64, and only 3 players have ever done the Little League World Series, College World Series, and Major League World Series.
Who are those 3? Do you know?
Ed Vosberg.
Household name?
Jason Varitek.
Okay.
Michael Conforto. Gary Sheffield? Do you remember that, Jake? 1980?
Did he? I wonder if he just sat there and did this with his bat the whole time. You know what I mean?
I always worried about his wrist. I'm like, is that carpal tunnel?
He's a hell of a player, though. Gary Sheffield, by the way, Brian Foster, who played at North Central, I think played like single-A ball with Gary Sheffield. They were in the same draft class for the Brewers, I think. And he's like, yeah, this Gary Sheffield dude's pretty good. He's not going to be around long.
Yeah, that's probably an understatement. I guess there's a team from Pennsylvania this year, so I can imagine the crowds will be
home field advantage.
Large for them. All right, let's do a morning check down before we get to the manager of Hagerstown.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Relieving your joint pain at QCkinetics.com. On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Kevin, I would like for you to give me a number 1 through 25, please.
I said the manager of Hagerstown. It sounds like he works for the city. He's on the city hall. Number 1 through 25, 21.
Number 21, the number 21 ranked team in college football in the AP preseason top 25 is Ole Miss. Mark, you want to give me a number?
14.
14th ranked. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, I love it.
Dun, 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 dun. Jeff Smollian's USC Trojans.
That's pretty
14th.
low for them. Vegas has their odds much higher to win it all. That's probably because the Pac-12 is the Pac-12. If you win the Pac-12,
Alabama number 1, Ohio State,
Jizzle
Georgia,
James,
Clemson, and Notre Dame rounding out the top 5.
Where are the Big Ten teams? Wisconsin, I assume. Michigan
here we
State
go.
got to be in the top 25.
You got Ohio State 2nd, Michigan is 8th, Sparty is 15, and Wisconsin is 18.
No Iowa?
Iowa is the 3rd highest receiving votes. Tennessee, Texas, Iowa. Then Penn State.
Purdue would be after that. It was 17.
Minnesota with 31 votes. Purdue with 17.
2 weeks from Thursday, Purdue and Penn State from Ross Aid. Colts practice noon today. They're back at Grand Park. That is just practicing with themselves today. Tomorrow and Thursday, the Detroit Lions come to town for joint practices. We'll preview that in depth the next couple of days. Roster cuts as well get started today. 90-man roster around the league. Teams have to get down to 85 by the end of the day. That cut goes from 85 to 80 next Tuesday, and then the following Tuesday, August 30th, that is the big cut, 80 to 50.
You don't anticipate anything seismic today, right?
No, I wouldn't think so. I think these are your back end of the roster guys.
Did we already give baseball scores?
We did not.
No.
Major League Baseball yesterday, it was the Phillies over the Reds 4-3. Cubs upended by the Nationals 5-4. Elsewhere around Major League Baseball, Dodgers over the Brewers 4-0. It was White Sox over the Astros 4-2. Rays over the Yankees, who, as Kevin had mentioned, the Yankees kind of on a slide here, right? I mean, there was a time where people thought they might set a record for, eclipsing the Mariners. Cute fella over the Blue Jays 7-3 yesterday. Speaking of the Mariners, 6-2 over the Angels.
And speaking of baseball, the Little League World Series, Hagerstown heading to Williamsport. I believe they're already there. We'll talk with our manager next, Patrick Vinson, here on Kevin in Query.
Come out to the Indiana State Fair for the All In Festival September 3rd and 4th. There'll be tons of artists that you'll enjoy listening to all day long.
Whether it's the news, the traffic, the weather, or your COVID-19 vaccinations, it's important to stay up to date. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Hey, it's JMV. Ray's Trash Service is the largest independent recycling and waste solutions provider in the Indianapolis area, and right now, they're looking for great people to join the team. Ray's is a family-operated business and has been providing Central Indiana with industry-leading recycling and waste disposal solutions since 1965. They focus a lot on the culture to make it a great place to work. Go to raystrash.com to see the career opportunities waiting for you. That's raystrash.com today. Rays, your recycling and waste solutions partner.
It's a fact. Only 0.0001% of people will ever step up to the plate as a pro baseball player. For the rest of us, there's BetRivers.com Sportsbook app. Featuring same-game parlays, you can combine different bets all from the same game. Totals? Bet 'em. Spreads? Bet 'em. Player props? It's a home run. Download the BetRivers.com Sportsbook app today. It's a whole new game.
Must be 21. Must be located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
The Jim Irsay Collection is coming to downtown Indianapolis September 9th, and it's free. Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay has what's been described as the world's greatest collection of rock guitars, musical instruments, and historical sports and pop culture memorabilia. The collection is highlighted by instruments and items from some of the greatest artists in music history. This free event is from 7 to 10 p.m. at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis and will feature a performance by the Jim Irsay Band with special guest Ann Wilson of Heart. For all the details and to register for your free ticket, head to JimIrsayCollection.com.
Radiant raspberry, golden orange, ice blue. You'll find all the colors of summer in our selection of beautiful, natural sapphires. Every color imaginable. At Shane Company, we're gemstone experts and our passion shows. Tom Shane selects our sapphires and rubies individually, by hand, in Bangkok, the gemstone capital of the world. He brings back the most spectacular sapphires, bold and vibrant colors, as well as soft pastels like peach and lavender. We also have yellow citrine, green quartz, London blue topaz, a rainbow of colors, and one-of-a-kind stones sourced by Tom. At Shane Company, we're known for our beautiful gemstones. Come into the store and try on our jewelry, or use our fun, virtual try-on tool on your phone. Whether it's sparkling earrings for the poolside, a gemstone pendant for a concert in the park, or a vibrant center stone for your engagement ring, our colorful gemstones will brighten your day.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Before they break the streak of 8 consecutive opening day losses, the Colts need to practice.
But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice?
Yeah, practice.
Recap practice.
Follow the Colts' progress through camp with daily in-depth updates from Kevin Bowen.
It's been pretty uneventful.
At 1075thefan.com.
Making sure we have enough depth.
Your home for complete Colts coverage.
Who are we as a team?
Is 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Just an awesome story out of Hagerstown as their Little League team is off to Williamsport, currently in Williamsport for the Little League World Series, the first representative from the state of Indiana in a decade, and their manager is joining us now. Patrick Vinson, his son Graham, with a walk-off to send them to Williamsport. Their first game, 3 o'clock on Thursday against Davenport, Iowa. Patrick, what a ride it's been, I would say, probably since the state tournament all the way to Williamsport, and I'm sure a few kind of pinch-me moments throughout.
Yeah, sitting here looking at Lombardy Stadium right now. I just keep waking up. My dorm room looks down on Lombardy, and they keep it lit up. So, when I wake up or roll over, I kind of peek out there just to make sure I'm still here.
That is awesome. I think I'll start right there. You don't really think about it, but the dorm atmosphere, if I'm not mistaken, aren't like all the kids like living together and next to, international teams and the U.S. teams as well?
Oh, yeah. We're all, it's called the Grove. It's very secure. They got a, fence around it. You got a badge to make sure you're there. If you're not there, they know you're not there. But yeah, they're all together. We have Australia next to us. Canada is under us. Hawaii is under Australia. So it's really cool to see all the kids mingle and interact and trade pins and swim and play games. So yeah, it's been a blast for them.
Now Australia should be under everybody, right? They've got this whole thing. They're going to confuse the hell out of the kids.
Yeah.
Patrick, let me ask you. I've got a couple of questions, like kind of in terms of the formatting of all of this. Okay, the first being, so obviously this is a team. It's so interesting to me because I played Little League like anybody else, right? And my Little League, we had like 8 teams in the Allisonville Little League, and then the Allisonville Little League team then went, and Eagledale always beat us, and they were all 16 anyway. But so this team, is this, I would assume, an all-star collection of kids that play in a Little League that is within Hagerstown, Indiana, or how exactly did this team come together?
Yeah, this team here is just Hagerstown, Indiana, our league. There was 5 teams in that league, and then we took the top 13 out of those 5 teams, and that's how we made this. Of course, they still play travel ball. Like there's 3 or 4 that I've coached on a travel team. We've got 5 11-year-olds on this team. So the other coach has got them on another travel team, but they make sure they get their games in Little League. You have to have 8 out of the 12 games is mandatory for All-Stars. So, you make sure you play that. And most of, all of them played all 12. Because they enjoy it. They enjoy being up there and having fun with one another. So it's kind of a break from travel ball, to be honest with you. And then you just put them together. You get the best 13, and then you just go to work with them.
And so the other question I had, which is, again, kind of a weird question, Patrick, but, when I was a kid, I'm going to sound like the old guy here, but school started different. School started like in early September when I was a kid. Our kids, now all of a sudden I look at it and I go, wait a minute, I wonder how many of the kids that are playing in the Little League World Series are actually missing school. for it, which is, I mean, I get it. It's fine. But how does that work out in terms of the school calendar in Hagerstown or for the other places, the other kids that are involved?
In Hagerstown right now, school is in session. Let's see, we played our championship game Thursday last week. They actually let the kids out, and were able to come over to Indianapolis and watch that championship game. And then as far as their schooling goes, they put out an email that, don't worry about it, have fun. It's a once in a lifetime deal. We'll get you caught back up when you get back in town. Enjoy it. So, yeah, I mean, that's huge. Everybody in Hagerstown, I mean, it's just an awesome community. It really is.
Hell, take a field trip to Williamsport. Shut down all the schools. Send them all there to Williamsport.
There's nobody in Hagerstown right now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I tell you, there's going to be a lot of people from Hagerstown here, which is amazing. I mean, it's 8-9 hours out here from home, and I hope we have a bunch of people out here. I think they're going to do something with the school as well on Thursday, because they were talking about, having a big screen up in the gymnasium, and the kids can all go down in there and watch it. And that's at 3:00.
God, I love that. Do we have a nickname, Patrick? Are we calling you guys the Tigers? I think that's the high school nickname. Every time I'm like, Patrick Vinson, manager of Hagerstown, I feel like you work for the city council. Is there a nickname we should be going with? I know you get a specific color, I think, to represent the Great Lakes region at Williamsport.
Yeah. We're blue and orange here, but Hagerstown Tigers.
That works.
Hagerstown Little League. Yeah, all of that's good.
And then the state tournament was not some cakewalk for you guys, if I'm not mistaken, right? This was not like, a dominant team 10-run ruling everybody here. This was a, kind of survive and advance through the state tournament in kind of a similar fashion through the regional.
Oh yeah, I mean it was tough. I actually we won district. First game in state I made, and then I had a pre-planned trip on my 25th anniversary with my wife to Cancun. So I actually missed that state championship game and a couple more. And Pat Allred, which was the guy that stepped up and became manager while I was out, did an awesome job. Dave Moore stepped in as a coach, came back, celebrated, got to work at the Great Lakes Regional. I mean, that was tough as well. When you have to beat Kentucky twice, and they were good. They were really good.
Are you watching these games from the swim-up bar in Cancun?
Yeah. We were down in the theater watching the semifinal and the final game. So I got to watch my kid hit the home run. In that championship. So it was like, oh my gosh, and we're jumping up and down. People probably think we were crazy that we had too many or something, but. We had a couple fans there that were paying attention to what was going on. They're like, "What's going on?"
Well, hell, does Mexico have a team? You could have done a recruiting trip out of this, like a scouting trip, right?
Yeah, I could have. Yeah. Yes.
Hey, Patrick, what is your? Listen, I look at this and I think to myself, okay, Patrick, is a little league coach, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute, you got to have like a normal job and a regular life. What is if it weren't for little league baseball, you regularly do what?
I work for Richmond Overhead Door Company out of Richmond, Indiana. I do some sales there, service technician, but it's kind of family there with Overhead Door. So they have been tremendous with me. They were like, hey, we get it. Once in a lifetime. Go have fun. We'll figure it out when you get back. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they've been great.
I've thought about this when I've watched the Little League World Series. And Patrick, I want you to simply, when I get done with this mini soliloquy, I want you to tell me if I'm being an old man yelling at clouds or if if I'm totally out of touch, which is entirely possible. I enjoy watching the Little League World Series. I think most people do. It takes all of us back to Little League when the most exciting part of the day for me was trading a snow cone for a Fernando Valenzuela rookie card after the game. And then I watch this and I think, to me, this seems almost like the last era of innocence for these kids with the sport of baseball before kind of the big money parenting, travel ball, adolescent stuff takes over and it becomes year-round for them. And, this is just kids having fun with their buddies. And then I think to myself, as a coach, do you have to kind of help for these kids to facilitate how to handle that transfer, if you will? And in addition to that, do you have to guide them on what it's going to be like to have this stardom that has come upon them, this celebrity that has come upon them in a small town, that ultimately a year from now everyone will kind of go back to their lives and it's up to them to navigate and wade through being a normal kid again? Those life lessons, is that part of your responsibility as a coach, or am I way overthinking it? No, you're 100% correct. They are very innocent here, and you realize they're 12 years old when you're up in the Grove, and you got Hawaii and these other teams. They're all interacting, playing cornhole, they're playing wiffle ball, trading pins, and they're just that's when you realize they're 12 years old. But you do have to kind of instill in them, this is great being here and this is wonderful, but you got to realize that you're not here without your buddy behind you. We started this whole thing on when we huddle, when we break as family. And that's kind of how we've navigated through this whole thing. God first, then your family, and then baseball. I mean, that's kind of how I think. And, it's really neat to see these guys just have each other's backs, and they play loose and they play relaxed and they just have fun. And I think that's what has made this group so good and so much fun to coach. It's just a blast. And, when they start getting all their interviews and then, after the games, I think they know, what to say. I really haven't had to say much to them. They're like, I know I did good, but, so-and-so over here hit a gap shot, or he made a great play. So yeah, it's kind of, it's good with these kids, and we have a lot of fun with them. And I think the reason we're here, honestly, is their innocence, and they just want to play the game of baseball, and that's it.
He's Patrick Vinson, again, manager of the Hagerstown Tigers. They are representing not only our state, but the Great Lakes region here in Williamsport. Their first game Thursday at 3 o'clock. Patrick, just two quick ones left from me. If I'm not mistaken, you and your older son were potentially on the doorstep of Williamsport, I guess, a while ago, and it could have been there. So in a way, this is kind of like a bit full circle for you and your family.
Oh, yeah. 2013, my oldest, we were at the Great Lakes Regional. Had a tremendous team, great team. Just couldn't make it out of it. But I tell him, my youngest got me here, so he tops you. There you go.
And then obviously Graham would be one of the players to keep an eye out for Thursday. But if you don't mind sharing, maybe your starting pitcher and just some other names that we'll see on Thursday for you.
Oh, yeah. Caden Hall, he will be on the mound for us. And, we have a plan of how many pitches to throw him to where, you win, you play Monday, keep him under that number. Heath Johnson, which pitched an outstanding championship game. Yeah, that was huge, having that curveball working. Jake Troutwine has been great for us, hitting, fielding. We're probably the most unorthodox baseball team you'll ever see with 3 left-handed infielders. So, Graham, of course, and then, all of them. But yeah, that's probably our what you're looking at.
So what I've made in my notes here is that your youngest is actually Australia and your oldest is Hawaii, which means the youngest was oddly on top when it came to Little League World Series, right?
There you go.
There's no rhyme or reason for any of this. What the hell is going on here? Hey, Coach, listen, you got a state behind you, and I know people are excited about it. And, win or lose, bottom line is just, hopefully you enjoy the moment, and that for the kids, the most important thing is trading the pins and having fun and playing cornhole with their buddies from around the world that they've made. So we certainly appreciate your time this morning.
Good luck, Coach.
All right, thank you.
That's Patrick Vinson right there on the Vinson, by the way, Vinson. Hope Vinson like Vincent. He is the manager of Hagerstown Little League. And Jake, I know I said it earlier, but at 1,800 people in the town, I mean, it is kind of a Cinderella feel to it. He mentioned
totally.
it. I mean, this guy was planning a trip to Cancun. I don't even think he thought deep down that they were going to get on this run, but they have done that, and their first game will be 3 o'clock on Thursday against Davenport, Iowa. Jake, the country that has won the most Little League World Series? Taiwan at 17, Japan at 11, and Chula Vista has 7.
Chula Vista is its own country, right?
California has 7. That would be the state with the most. This is the 75th anniversary.
Is it really? Here's another question for you. With the popularity of the Little League World Series every year and it never going away, why is Major League Baseball, in terms of popularity with young people, so far behind the other sports now?
Oh, boy, that's a debate for...
I have my own theory, but they just lose
944.
Interest?
Yeah, like you said, the innocence of it. I just think when the older baseball to me is such a fun game
to play.
Yeah, I think baseball is such a fun game to play, not as much to watch.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
At least that's how I
really good way of saying it. That's
from
fair.
my personal experience. Okay, a reminder for the pop quiz. It's coming up next. This is for an entry into our fantasy football league. So if you'd love to play fantasy football, give us a call right now, 317-239-1070. We already have some people on the phone lines. We'll continue to give a spot away in the league each of the next 4 days this week, and next week all 5 days with the pop quiz. So we will do that next here on Kevin and Corey.
If you're a window installer, keep it simple. Choose Anderson 400 Series windows. They're the cladwood windows contractors trust the most. So much so, they're the windows contractors trust for their own homes. And with fewer callbacks, the choice is simple. It's Anderson 400 Series windows, the windows contractors trust the most. Get started at AndersonWindows.com today.
Claims based on 2022 Anderson brand survey of U.S. contractors.
Go yard all summer long with $5 Dinger Tuesdays on FanDuel Sportsbook. This season, all customers will get $5 for every home run hit by both teams when they place a $25 to hit a home run wager on Tuesday MLB games. And the best part about Dinger Tuesdays is even if your bet loses, FanDuel will pay you $5 for every home run hit. I'm dialed into tonight's huge pitchers duel on the south side of Chicago. The White Sox take on the Astros, and Justin Verlander and Dylan Cease on the mound. 2 Cy Young candidates going head-to-head. It should be a great watch. Give me Yordan Alvarez. He leads the Astros with 31 home runs. If he hits 32 tonight, a $25 bet, payout over $107. So what are you waiting for? Pick your home run hitter and turn big swings into big wins. There's no better place to bet on America's pastime than on America's #1 sportsbook. Again, all you have to do is head over to the FanDuel Sportsbook account, download the app if you haven't already, and sign up using promo code MARK. Again, that's promo code MARK, M-A-R-C. Opt into Dinger Tuesdays and place your $25 wager and let the money rake in. While you're there, check out their everyday odds boosts and specials. The app is safe, secure, and easy to use. And when you win, you get paid quick. So again, promo code MARK, M-A-R-C. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Bonus issued is now a drawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $25. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Circle K is America's thirst stop. And yours, especially when the weather gets... and you need to stay refreshed on the go with ice-cold Circle K favorites like freshly ground iced coffee, Froster, Polar Pop Cup, and more. Think of it as the ultimate thirst-quenching, totally rehydrating summer splash zone. When life's go, 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 make us your first stop. Because Circle K is America's thirst stop.
One of the best things that's happened here in Indianapolis over the past year is the arrival of QC Kinetics. I'm Kevin Bowen, and if you've got any aching pain in your joints, whether it's knee, hip, back, shoulder, wherever, QC Kinetics is a must call. They're giving relief every day to folks here with chronic joint pain using the latest advances in regenerative medicine. They harness the power of your own body's healing properties, like in your blood or plasma, concentrate them, and then apply to your affected joint. We're talking no drugs, no surgery, no side effects, no steroids, no downtime. And the success rate is incredible. They're growing fast. They started with one medical clinic. Now they have clinics in Eagle Creek and Greenwood, and more are on the way. It's a free consultation and see what your options are. Don't continue to live with that nagging joint pain. Call QC Kinetics today, 463-235-7160. Again, locations in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. That is 463-235-7160.
Indianapolis, at Geico, our employees' careers matter to us.
Well, my finances matter to me.
Great news, Carol. Geico offers a competitive salary that grows with your career because that matters to us, too. Your hopes and dreams matter. Even little things like the perfect office chair height matter.
Oh, that 100% matters. Oh, yeah. Nailed it.
When it comes to your career, what matters to you matters to Geico. We're now hiring claims and customer service agents. Apply today at careers.geico.com/Indianapolis and let's get growing.
The preseason continues as the Colts host the Detroit Lions. Coverage Saturday morning at 10 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
All right, Kev, you got a number for me?
Yeah, let's go with 3 o'clock for Hagerstown on Thursday. Let's go with number 3.
Okay.
So that means our first team, our first manager, commissioner, whatever you want to call it, in the Fantasy Football League of Kevin and Query, Dustin.
Yes, dude, Patrick is my man. I know Patrick personally. He's a great guy.
You talking Patrick Vinson, the Hagerstown manager?
Yes, I know Patrick personally, man. He is a great individual.
Now, how do you know Patrick?
I didn't even know he was going to be on the radio, man. I just was listening to you guys, and I heard you guys say he was coming on. I was like, yes.
Now, Dustin, you sound like a relaxed fella. Are you a surfer? You sound like a surfer.
No, I'm the guy from Connorsville that you quizzed on the Heinemans last time.
Oh, yeah.
How do you know Patrick? Not to get too personal.
Same area of the state?
We collect baseball cards, sports cards together, and we've done some trades and deals and stuff. And
what is your holy grail baseball card, Dustin? Like, what's the one card that you've had your eye on for years?
I got a Nolan Ryan rookie as my best card I have.
That's solid. That is solid.
Keep that in the safe.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we know what you'll be doing at 3 o'clock on Thursday, and congrats on being in the Fantasy League. No matter what happens in the pop quiz, stay on the line. Mark will get your contact info for the Fantasy League.
Awesome.
Are you a good
guys.
fantasy player?
No.
All right. Good.
Dude, Dustin, no one worse than me. Playing me is like a bye week.
I've literally went from top to bottom and back to top. So I was last
Australia
place,
to Hawaii.
second place. And, so I don't know. It's probably back to the bottom again.
Okay, Dustin, would you like for me, that would be Jake, or Kevin to lead you off with question number 1?
Got to go with Jake, man. Let's go.
All right, well, I appreciate that. Number 1, the Colts face the Detroit Lions in preseason game number 2 on Saturday. The Lions are one of 4 NFL teams that have never played in a Super Bowl, and they have not won an NFL championship since 1957. Named the only team that has a longer NFL championship drought. And I will tell you that this team is in its 3rd location in franchise history, and basically, depending on your age, Dustin, which I think is around mine, they're in a new location since they relocated when I was like in the 8th grade, somewhere in there.
Tennessee Titans.
Would you like a second guess?
This guy's got their head coach is someone my wife likes to look at.
Jeez. Yeah, okay.
They changed their name from being named for a city to being named for a state, like probably 25 years ago.
The head coach's house was all the rage during the NFL draft a couple years ago.
And then you guys keep throwing. Oh,
J.J. Watt plays there.
Oh, Arizona. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Shohei Ohtani, Dustin, he struck out 8 Mariners. I feel like Ohtani's on the pop quiz every week.
That is true.
Shohei Ohtani struck out 8 Mariners and taking a no decision for the Angels last night. Ohtani has struck out 165 batters in 20 starts this season, the third most over 20 starts in Angels history. Nolan Ryan has the most, striking out 211 batters in 20 starts in 1977. Who is second? Nolan Ryan.
On the Angels? Oh, goodness.
Well, I was going to give you some multiple choices if you want them.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Please.
Nolan Ryan, Frank Tanana, Dean Chance, or Jim Abbott?
My first instinct was Jim Abbott, so I'm going to go with that.
Okay. Question number 3. Sandy Alcantara of the Miami Marlins threw 7 shutout innings last night as the Marlins blanked the Pods 3-0. It's the 8th Alcantara start this season in which he has gone at least 7 innings, allowing 0 earned runs, which is the second most in a single season in Marlins history. What player who became a World Series sensation as a young player, if I'm not mistaken, has more? Is it Dontrell Willis, Jose Fernandez, Levon Hernandez, or Josh Beckett?
Dontrell Willis.
Okay.
Scotty seemed upset at
Yeah,
something
Scotty
you
got
did
upset at
there.
that.
Yeah. All right, number 4, Dustin. On this day in 1936, the 11th Summer Olympic Games closed. Where did the 36 Summer Olympics take place? L.A., Paris,
Yeah, it was easy.
Berlin, or London?
Berlin.
All right, the last question for you, Dustin. I want you to think back to your baseball card collection. Happy 68th birthday to Sports Illustrated. The magazine was first published on this day in 1954. What donned the first ever cover? Was it a row of golf bags? Braves third baseman Eddie Matthews, 49ers quarterback Y.A. Tittle, or bulldogging from the 1954 Calgary Stampede?
Man, I'm going to go with the third option.
Jake, I can just see myself every Wednesday running to the mailbox waiting for Sports Illustrated.
I did say think about your baseball card collection.
Hey, Dustin's fired up. He's fired up about Hagerstown. He's fired up about
right.
Fantasy League. All right, let's see how I did. The only team that has a longer NFL championship drought than the Lions would be who?
That would be the Chicago, later St. Louis. I think for only 1 year, Phoenix. I used to have a hat that said Phoenix Cardinals and Arizona Cardinals, who last won in 1947.
All right, Nolan Ryan, the most strikeouts in Angels history for a single season, 211 batters in 20 starts. Second on that list, Dustin went with Jim Abbott. The correct answer, though, is that precious rookie card he's got.
Nolan Ryan in 1973. Dontrell Willis, Berlin, and Eddie Matthews round out the answers. Dustin, stick on the line because we will get all your information for the Fantasy Football League.
Will my Sports Illustrated that I still own have any value?
No, sir.
Ever?
If you have one with like Jordan on the cover as a rookie, I think it's probably worth $50.
Well, I've got the Jordans. I've got, the Tigers, the Usain Bolts.
What am I supposed to do with all these swimsuit issues I have?
I certainly have those. Although I think my parents might have taken some of the swimsuit issues.
Old McPherson, hello.
Every 2 months now? Is that what Sports Illustrated's doing?
I think that's what Scotty said, yeah.
God, it's a shame. I did SI for kids at one point.
What was the trivia question for a while there? Who the only 3 people on the cover of Sports Illustrated, Time, Newsweek in the same issue, same week?
Ali?
OJ and Secretariat and Ali, I think, are the answers.
That's what I would guess. All right, joint practice tomorrow. We'll talk to you 7 a.m. right here on Kevin and Corey.